Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Quattray. Some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We're back with another action-packed show for you all today, covering the world of boxing and beyond. And we got a bunch of fights and a bunch of talk that we have to discuss on today's show. Oh yes, indeed, it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be an absolute sublime time right here on this Thursday afternoon. Again, getting ready to get to the end of the week. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to end it off strong. We got Ryan Garcia talk of with his opportunity at a legitimate world title, more specifically with Mario Barrios. Is it fair that he's getting the shot, or at least in position to get this shot, even though he lost his last time out, which is crazy enough, for a championship opportunity? Also, we had to talk about the fight with Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz versus Lubin. Yes, sir. Happening November 8th, I believe, this weekend. So it's going to be exciting to see how we feel this fight going. Yes, we've talked about it throughout the week. We've talked about it a couple of times throughout the month. However, now it's right down the corner. And mind you, all of this is for most likely the sweepstakes. Crazy enough, we can call it sweepstakes of Boots in this. Yes, indeed. And what is going to be the ramifications of the winner of this fight? And who do we think? Somebody's getting overlooked. More likely than not, it might be true that, yeah, we might not be giving Lubin the respect that he deserves. We're going to talk about that on the show right here, as well as much more on this show. All with you tuning in and supporting. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Come on and be a part of the hottest show in all the globe, right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Also, be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. And be sure to chat right here in the chat section to be able to have your voice be seen and heard for the world to witness and enjoy, and to be a part of the conversation. No question about it. We can't do this show without you. We want to hear your input and your voice on whatever we talk about on today, as well as be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make this possible. We can't do this without you. And hey, the more you watch, the more you like, the more you share, the bigger this channel's gonna get, and the more fervently we can take over this whole social media landscape, all with your help and with, hey, your fandom. So let's get right into it. Oh, also be sure to rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform imaginable. And if we're not on a podcast platform, tell us and we'll work to get there. No question about it, absolutely. But again, with all that being said, we got it. Oh, and hey, look, payment. Hey, we got the monetization is coming. It is. But until we do, Cash App and PayPal, links down below in the description. If you can't support anything, we'll do. But just sitting in and watching and enjoying is good enough for me. But if you feel inclined and you like what's going on, hey, feel free. I'll take it. This is my job, by the way. But again, with all that being said, I did just being funny. But again, if you can't give, we'll appreciate it with support and help to invest back into this channel to make it bigger and better for you all to listen and enjoy and watch. Absolutely. But again, without further ado, we got a show to talk about. We got boxing to cover. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time to step into the ring. Oh yes, ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway as we had discussed the first topic of discourse. Well, actually, we honestly, we can go either way with how we talk about the show. And also, we got people in the chat like we're just do boxing. Yo, what's good with you, my brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We appreciate you coming in, joining in on the live. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you showed up. We're glad. Hopefully, you'll stick around. Hopefully, you'll like what we got to say. And we're going to give you some fun, some excitement, some energy, some fire, some absolute entertainment and enjoyment, all for you to go throughout your day. And hey, maybe if you want to get in on the conversation, feel free, because we got a bunch of things to discuss. But the first thing, it feels like it's kind of a toss-up. What I want to talk about Ryan Garcia first, what I want to talk about Lubin first versus Ortiz. I feel like the Lubin, excuse me, whoa, gosh, hold on, excuse me. Wait a minute, my voice dried out, hold on. There we go, okay, me. Yeah, okay, we should be good. Hit a hiccup there, but either way, excuse me, I think we're going to touch on Ryan Garcia first. And then we're going to touch on Lubin versus Ortiz. Again, that's the most, the biggest event happening, at least this weekend. And the ramifications of that, again, involving boots, is indeed incredibly substantial. And I think we're going to say that for later on in the show. So we're going to talk about Ryan Garcia first and foremost, with the topic of discussion. Yes, indeed, and if you haven't heard already, Ryan Garcia has been cleared of all, not of all wrongdoing. Hold on, time out. Wait a minute, hold on. He hasn't been cleared of wrongdoing. He still did pop dirty. He still was indeed caught taking PEDs, even if it was unintentional. But now he is a free man in the sense of the WBC, and he is now eligible to be in line to fight for a world championship. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a real world championship. To quote Ric Flair, the real world championship. And when he used to have the NWA title and brought it over to the WWF, but regardless of which, still, we are in the midst of a paradox, a juxtaposition, a crossroads in the landscape of boxing, because a lot of people, have some very much dogged ideas about Ryan Garcia. And if this opportunity that is being talked about and getting is even deserved. Yes, and now again, as we know, we talked about with Oscar De La Hoya going through and discussing why Ryan Garcia won't be fighting Jake Paul was because, well, he is going to fight, or he has a fight lined up against the likes of Mario Barrios for Barrios' title at 147. The same Barrios who fought to a draw against Manny Pacquiao, who in all honesty, I think Pacquiao won that fight, but regardless of which, he's still the reigning champion. And Ryan Garcia is in position, crazy enough, to get that title. Now, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, this seems a little bit sketchy and dare I say unfair. Now, why do I say that? Well, like I teased earlier in the show, this man lost to Rolly Romero. Don't forget that. Remember the whole instance of why we're even in this debacle with Ryan Garcia not fighting Devin Haney, with Ryan Garcia being in a potential like, ooh my, this loss has changed some people's perceptions about him, even with the win, or rather with the performance that turned into a no contest, going up against the likes of Devin Haney. All of a sudden, we are asking questions. Hey, Ryan Garcia, what are you? Where are you? Who are you as a fighter? Because right now we have a litany of concerns, because that fight with Rolly Romero was supposed to be a fight that you would have and should have dominated. And I mean dominated on the grandest scale possible. There's no reason for most people who view you and who know boxing, no reason why people thought that, or excuse me, let me rephrase it. Excuse me. For good reason. We have people all saying, there's no way that Rolly can win that fight, and let alone outbox Ryan Garcia. And lo and behold, he knocks him down and outboxing him for just about 12 rounds in a shocking upset that completely skewed up the plans with the rematch of Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. That was going to take place, crazy enough, around this same time, this month, November 22nd, most likely would have been a dual big headliner card. And by that I mean it would have been separate dates with David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde having a fight, and then Devin Haney versus Brian Norman having a separate card. Or Haney versus Ryan would have been the headliner for today. If I'm speculating with what hindsight sees as the boxing world going, it would have been Haney versus Ryan, main event, Benavidez Yarde, undercard, with the rest of the card that we got now on November 22nd. I can only assume with how everything played out right now. So, all that got blown up and spoke, and now we're saying, hey, we need to see you retool and recruit. And we understand, reporting Ryan Garcia had an injury, wrist injury, had to go and get surgery. I completely get it. It was in the gym. We see the scars. We see all that stuff. Everything's all well and good from that front. Fine. We will capitulate that is indeed true. Okay. Was injured, was hurt, wasn't able to fight like he wanted to fight, even though still wouldn't have made a difference, because he still could have done a lot more in that fight, and he just got beat clean by a boxing Rolly Romero that, in my opinion, shouldn't have had any business boxing and beating Rolly. But regardless of which, here's where we're at right now. Even with those setbacks and pitfalls in Ryan Garcia, this man now is set up to get a title. And I don't think that he should. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think that this talk and the conversation surrounding what we're hearing from De La Hoya, what we're hearing from the greater landscape of the WBC and just the boxing world as a whole with Ryan Garcia looking like, yeah, he's going to get that shot. It doesn't seem right to me because he doesn't deserve it. Let's be honest. He doesn't deserve it. If there was somebody who did deserve it, it would be, hey, Rolly Romero. That would make more sense. That makes sense to me, at least. It means something. And it would be that Rolly Romero would get the shot at that title again because he beat the brother. Now you can go and petition. Now that he got elevated to the real WBA championship, then he would go and unify against Barrios in a unification fight at 147. And you get a potential fight to bring into against the likes of Brian Norman and or Devin Haney to go and get to become further unify 3 of the 4 belts at 147. That's what makes sense to me. That's what I think should be happening. That's what I think completely is justified. What ain't is Ryan Garcia having a fight with a title against Barrios as a legitimate opportunity when he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. He hasn't earned it at all. And again, he's in a position right now. He isn't in line to fight for a belt. He's in line right now to get his career back where it's supposed to be. Now, I'm not saying his career is completely out the wazoo, gone and out the pasture. He's one loss away from coming irrelevant. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that this is a man who if nobody views Ryan Garcia right now as a championship level fighter because what he's done thus far hasn't been laden with, I don't want to say a pedigree because he's taken on of everybody that's fought everybody. He's been fighting most people. But that's what we can say. He doesn't duck smoke. We can say that for certain. So he's got a pedigree of names, sure. But the production, at least at that high level, hasn't been where it needs to be. Now, even when it was, again, pop dirty. This is not something that Ryan Garcia should be placed at right now, at least, or rather, especially coming off injury, but also without it being earned in the slightest with any in-ring production. Again, if you lose to Rolly Romero, that is very much an indictment. Now, credit, Rolly got better, but still, that loss should have, you're at the back of the line, buddy. You gotta go and work your way back up. You forget Devin Haney, forget the title. You just need a win against a decent guy just to get back on track. And if you fight somebody heavy-handed, okay, cool, even better. But you don't just get and shouldn't just get these types of opportunities. And people can say, okay, hey, Manny Pacquiao did it against Barrios. Okay, fine. Hey, that's all well and good. Absolutely that happened. I said that it shouldn't happen either in that situation either. I said it shouldn't be the Pacquiao gets a world title shot immediately. I showed him didn't say that. Never said that. I said he should have to work his way up like everybody else. But at least he had the pedigree of a Manny Pacquiao to be able to say, okay, if anybody was gonna be given a straight up jump in line card, all right, fine, I guess. Ryan ain't on that level yet. Ryan showing up ain't proving it in a fight that, again, he should have won against Ryan Garcia. And Ryan is in a crossroads of position to where how do we say this? Ryan has the tools to be a champion. And I wouldn't be surprised if, as we keep on talking with this fight, I start saying that Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Or if I said that. Because between Ryan and Barrios, I would assume, let me stop talking in third person. I would lean towards Ryan Garcia. But even still, I'm like, everything's up to everybody. Just as the fight itself, but specifically with the positioning. Nah, it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't be. And but Manny Pacquiao's a better argument making a rematch with Barrios. Then Ryan Garcia's got to make a fight with Barrios for a title. In my opinion, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Let me see. Al Booger, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're here with us on today. We appreciate you joining in on the live. Let me see. No, he doesn't deserve a title shot. Yeah, my sentiments exactly. Lost to Rolly badly, no contest for PEDs, and blue weight against Devin Haney, beat Duarte, and knockout lost. Like the streak of run in his career right now doesn't even equate to, hey, this man's got some momentum. Okay, let's do something with him. Fine. And even amongst the rankings in the WBC, he ain't even, I don't believe he's number one. I don't believe. Or two, or three. Shoot, might not even be four. It's like, again, it's the cachet. Yeah. But he does not deserve. In fact, I'll bring up the names. Let me see. Terrible looking resume since 2023. And by, it's bad from the sense of the success, again, outside of Devin Haney debacle, hasn't been there. The taking on people, I have no problem with. Taking on legitimate, hard-hitting comp, Tank Davis, fought Devin Haney, fought Oscar Duarte. It's not that the list of names he's fought is bad. It's the production and the subsequent drama surrounding some of those fights. It's like, he ain't in a position to do it. He ain't, at least not to me. And again, we can bring up who he's deserving over. We can go that route if we really want to. If we really want to. At 147, granted, yes, since Boots and since Terrence Crawford have left, it's not the same punch per se. It ain't got the same drive per se as to what the weight per se of this division is going to be. But again, Brian over Barrios, sure, Pacquiao, okay, fine. Abel Ramos, Stanley, even though you can argue Stanley, after just being beat by Boots for his belt, would be more inclined to have an opportunity of, okay, I can get in position to get another one just because, hey, I had one. And I was reigning. Yeah, I got a title taken away, but at least I had that going for me that I actually did something. And I'm looking at the the Transnational Boxing Board. Transnational Boxing Ranking Board. Again, one of the more reliable ranking systems I have or that I use. Teddy Hadley trusted. I checked it out. It's pretty good. You can check the whole website where article or writers and journalists from all over come and weigh in to help update this list every single week or month, whatever the case may be. Garcia ain't even top 10 in the world of 147 as a whole. Garcia ain't even in the top 10 right now amongst everybody. You got what was it? You got Mbing, you got Kurel, Rocha, Stanionis, Stanalini, Cisco, if I'm saying his name wrong, excuse me, Abel Ramos, then Pacquiao, Barrios, and Brian Norman. That's 1, 2, 3. Pacquiao got that rank because he got a draw with Barrios coming off, and then boom, and a lot of people thought he won. That's why they put him up there. I get it. But outside of that, you can speculate Pacquiao if he should be that high. Perfectly fine. Leave him still. At least he's there. At least he's there. And then of course, Rolling. All those, or at least a good chunk of them, have at least had a stint or a run that should be more inclined. And Ryan Garcia right now, the real question is, it's going to sound crazy to say, is this brother ready to fight for a title as a talent? Let's be honest, forget the name. Forget the ability. Or, excuse me, not the ability, excuse me. Forget the name, forget the hype, forget the cachet. As a fighter right now, do we see him being able to beat any of the top names at 147 who have a belt, who are legit contenders for him at this point in time? And it's a question of the answer that comes to mind is I dare say no. Not that he couldn't compete, but do I have confidence that he's going to win? Not against most. And even against Barrios, who I've said on multiple different occasions is one of the weaker champions, if not the weakest champion at 147. Absolutely. Still, even Ryan Garcia against him, I got concerns about. I got major concerns about. Because of what happened the last time out when he fought against Rolly Romero. He has not taken off the sting of Rolly Romero and what he did to him. Injury or not. Because it looked in the manner that he had no answer at all to make any sort of change in the slightest about what Rolly was doing to him with no other weapons. Again, the biggest issue with Ryan Garcia, there's nothing else to him once that left hook goes away. And the biggest issue is that is now not, that one trick is not enough. But that one trick is going up against everybody else in the boxing world. And even against the likes of Mario Barrios, I'm not nearly as confident that, yeah, this cat's going to be able to do, just with raw ability, enough to be able to beat the likes of Barrios. We can talk about that Pacquiao shouldn't have been, that we thought Pacquiao shouldn't have been in the ring. You saw how he was able to adapt in the fight, on the fly, and use some of those old vaunted skill sets, even at a very much advanced age, to turn this fight into something that, hey, when something wasn't working, he was able to adapt. He was able to change. He went to the body. He started to find a way around that jab. He was staying in the pocket a little bit more. He kept on keeping that intensity high, and with how he went about his offense, switched it up to be able to connect consistently on Barrios, especially in the later half of the fight. Adapted to the offense coming this way. Adapted to the hook that Barrios would try to throw. Adapted to the right hand by rolling under or by beating into the punch. He made changes. Ryan Garcia can't make changes. He can't. He can't. I would have a league's better outlook on this whole position of Garcia having a shot at the championship if at least his talent was up to par where I would say, okay, yeah, he is at that level of he is good enough to do it. Might be a little bit too soon. Yeah, he's skipping the line, but at least his talent is worth this position. I can't say that for him right now. I sure enough can't. Not just because of the past, but also because of right now, what he has shown as a boxer ain't up to code, even against the likes of Barrios. And again, I'm leaning towards Ryan Garcia winning this fight. But even with that, I don't have the confidence nearly that I should of somebody with that type of physical capabilities with some of the fastest hands in the land going up against him. Because again, if he gets out jabbed, if he isn't able to get on the inside, if all of a sudden his length and his speed can't get to Barrios, and he can't adapt like he did against Ryan, like he did against Rolly. He can't adapt to that. So in this case, a long jab. There's gonna be oh gosh, oh gosh, hold on, wait a minute. And he can't adapt to a long jab of Mario Barrios when he couldn't deal with the short jab of Rolly Romero. It's going to be another repeat. Might not be a knockdown, though we know Mario Barrios, if he does have you hurt, he is a good finisher. And he does have some decent power. If I dare I say good power. All of that can come to a head in that fight. And it's because Ryan Garcia still has the same issues. Healthy or not, it's the same problem. The brother can't change for nothing. Since the brother can't change for nothing, the brother can't beat people that we think he should beat. If you thought that Rolly Romero was an upset when he beat Ryan Garcia, you better hold your breath when if and when he fights against Mario Barrios. Because you're going to be like, you're going to be saying out that the world's turned upside down. You're going to be saying we in Stranger Things. You're going to be saying this is preposterous. People going to be losing their money left and right. Everybody's going to be up in order. It's going to be pandemonium. Pandemonium. Because people are going to say, how in the world did this fight go wrong yet again? There's no way Ryan Garcia loses to Barrios. But in fact, there is a way. There's multiple ways. But there's one major way. If Ryan Garcia can't change, and which is the most consistent thing about his entire career, we can talk about the willingness to fight people. We can talk about the hype and circumstance. We can talk about everything under the sun involving what Ryan Garcia is as a fighter and what his willingness, heart, and an appetite to take on the best of the best. We can talk about that to kingdom come. To kingdom come. What we can't deny, though, there is a reason he's lost this many times. And at the high level, we've seen what happened to him, like again with Tank Davis. Yes, at that point in time, injured. Absolutely. Broken ribs. Absolutely. Before the fight. No question there. But even off the backs of that loss, we didn't see the improvement necessary. You had the Ryan roll that came about. It worked, and it's been 8-2. He has gotten that under his legitimate skin. Fine. But then offensively, it's the same boat. It's the same boat. And that boat is indeed something crazy. As much as you may not believe it, that boat is something that Ryan Garcia can drown. Can drown it. Because it's a boat filled with holes that he's still, no matter how much new paint, no matter how much he's redone his image, no matter how much he's gone through and talked about, I'm going to be better, I'm going to take on everybody, I'm looking for smoke. All that stuff, the new coat of paint doesn't hide the fact that you still got a hole in the middle. And you ain't filled it with cement. You ain't fixed it. And so you're going to drop yet again. This time against an opponent you should not be, if we were going off of what we think you are, you should not be losing to, even if you have this opportunity. And again, this opportunity shouldn't even be given to you in the first place. It's a product of the star power. It's a product of the fandom. It's a product of, hey, this is a money move. He's a maker. Who cares if he hasn't done what needs to be done? He's got an audience behind him. He's got pop and circumstance. He's got pizzazz. He's got flair. He's got everything that we want in a champion. Okay, fine. Give him a shot. Okay. If he loses against I'm going to say this right now. If he, wrong button. If he loses against Barrios, there we go. If he loses against Barrios, he better take a long look in the mirror. If he loses against Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia better take a long look in the mirror. I mean a really long look in the mirror. Because this is a loss that would be, we thought Roller Romero was going to be something that dipped this man's stock. And it did. Barrios, you lose to him? I shudder to think what the boxing was going to say about you. I doubt you'll be back on the Inside the Ring show with Max Kellerman and all of them. It's going to be like, you don't need to be out in public right now. Promise you. So it's more than just a title shot isn't deserved. I don't think he's ready for it. I don't. I know it's going to be like coming off an injury. I don't know what he's been working on, which, again, is completely fine. I also understand that the last time we saw this man retool and regroup, it came at a cost of defense looked absolutely abysmal. And it had us all asking questions yet again. This is that same reset situation for Ryan Garcia. And I hate it. Especially when it's at a position where somebody else, you should be doing this against people that are lower level, while somebody else who's actually done work gets a shot at a championship. Not you in this situation. Not you. Not you at all. But let me see. We tried to say Ryan is overrated. Only a left hook, one trick pony. And it's a shame. And this really speaks to, and this now speaks to the future of Garcia as a whole. Hey, we got to start being real about this now. He's still young. Absolutely. He's still growing. No question. He still has a whole host of career left in front of him. I am not doubting that at all. What I am doubting, though, is now the foreseeable future of Ryan Garcia. What is this going to be like if this stays the same? And you can say, oh, it won't stay the same. We don't know that. You can say he will get better. We don't know that. It won't. We're looking at a man who is on the precipice of falling into the same trap as a Joe Joyce. And I'm using Joe Joyce as a consistent example of this type of moniker of lack of improvement, because that's the most eye-catching and the most recent and relevant example of a career you can watch that, because of a lack of adaptation and improvement to change what they are now at a position, to Joe Joyce, in their career where they never imagined they would be in. But because they could not change, boom, that one trick fell apart, literally crumbled in front of their eyes against Big Bang Jane twice. And then they get Derek Chisora for the last time. We are witnessing Deontay Wilder, another example. One trick pony that once that trick stopped working, they did not and could not improve, and everything went to pot and absolutely did away with. Ryan Garcia can have that exact same issue. Where he becomes so reliant, so dependent, and so intentional with just that one weapon. The next thing you know, now he's stuck. He's losing to people Barrios level and worse. He's getting upset by people like Rolly and worse. He'll keep getting opportunities, and he'll keep losing at these opportunities. Even if you think he's better than them, he's going to show you, hey, I might not be, because I'm not where I need to be technically. And from an offensive standpoint, and I'm saying I'm honing in on the offensive aspect because the offense is exactly what got stifled against Rowley. You couldn't do anything offensively as a plan B to score. Forget hurting, just to score. If you want to say you were injured, that's completely fine, and you were. But still, the same issue persisted. You didn't know how to score once that left hook wasn't working, and once you got caught with something that put you down, all of a sudden, you were hesitant, you were wary, you were scared to go in and engage, and you didn't even use the rest of your tool set because you didn't see any of the tool set as a viable option because you didn't know how to do anything else. Didn't know how to do anything else. At least when you fought against Tank, we saw you get knocked out. That's perfectly fine. You went in and you at least used your right hand. You came forward and tried to use your size. You weren't scared to apply some pressure and attempt to throw an arsenal of punches to see what worked and what didn't. And that right hand was working against Tank. It genuinely was. But what happened? You got too predictable with that left hook and you got knocked down. So again, even in your trying, you still went and fell to the same issue because you don't have the delivery system necessary to make that one trick work to perfection. We can talk about Wilder not having any technical ability. He had a delivery system that even gave Tyson Fury trouble because he may not have anything else, but that one trick was backed by a understanding. I know how to make that trick work in any given situation. Ryan Garcia hasn't learned that yet. It's always good to have one thing to rely on, but you don't need to rely on that thing if you don't got the proper way to execute it in multiple things and situations. Bruce Lee said it best. I don't fear the man who mastered 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who mastered one kick 1,000 times. You know why? Ain't just because that man knows how to throw that one kick to perfection or that one punch to perfection. It's because they know how to throw that kick, the same kick, in any given situation, and it will work because they understand how to deliver it regardless of what instance, distance, or type of danger they are in. Forwards, backwards, applying pressure, trying to fight defensively, looking for a counter window, trying to step off, trying to step in, trying to step out, slipping, ducking, weaving. They can throw that kick off a block. They can throw that kick skipping forward. They can throw that kick as they're pivoting. It don't matter where they throw the kick. They know how to throw it in any given instance, and it will get you. That's what a master does. Ryan Garcia ain't that. And if he don't learn that quick, he's going to be in real dangerous trouble. To have his career be I don't want to say a what if, but it's going to be a situation of, man, this is what you were, and you could have been better. You could have done more. But it's not a what if because you didn't. It's not a what if he learned how to do something. It's a you didn't learn. You didn't take the time, and you fell to the wayside again to the same issues. And it's an absolute shame. We don't want that, but my God, that's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like. And so, but let me keep reading. I've been Rhoda. If I didn't say hi to you already, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Let me see. Suleiman Suzuko beats both Ryan and Barrios in the same night. Maybe so. Maybe so. At this point in time, I'm scared to say, and it is going to sound very much hating. I'm not hating. But we have to have an honest conversation about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, as a fighter, though we may view him as in Barrios as a night and day skill gap and difference, they might be a lot closer than we may think because of, again, Garcia's lack of improvement over the last 3 years to the degree that it should be. That's just the truth. Because again, against Devin Haney, you can say that was the best Ryan Garcia looked. You can also say that he popped dirty. Both things are true. And you can also say that he looked dominant. But guess what? He was looking dominant, using the same stuff in a situation where, hey, that against that one opponent, it worked like it did. But against everybody else who's been up at the caliber or legit level, outside of Devin Haney, who again, everything about him can be mitigated if you're able to physically control him. When other people ain't like that are at the top level, you either getting knocked down, knocked out, having to fight, coming from behind, or you lose. That's the problem. That's a major problem. Let me see. It's an insane trick. One of the fastest punches I've seen was that hook against Fortuna. No, you're right. It's a great trick. I'm not diminishing. He ain't got the ability to make that trick work. I am diminishing that he doesn't have a plan B when that trick doesn't work. And that very trick isn't set up like it should be set up for somebody like Ryan Garcia to maximize its effectiveness. That's what my problem is. You can rely on the one trick, that's fine. But you got to be able to, if you're going to be that, you got to be able to set it up in any given situation. Smoking Joe Frazier he had multiple tricks, absolutely. But the biggest one was the left hook. That's what a lot of his game plan was predicated on. Landing that left hook. The greatest left hook in boxing history is Smoking Joe Frazier. In my estimation. This man, whether it was Foreman or whether it was Ali, whether it was Jimmy Ellis, no matter who, win or loss, he was the reason why he was such a big threat and that dominant, one of the greatest heavyweight champions we've had and one of the greatest heavyweights in history, one of the best knockout artists in history, is because of the fact that one trick that he had, though he was already a multifaceted fighter, he mastered how to make that trick work, body and head, ducking and slipping in any given situation. That's what we want to see Ryan Garcia do, or at least try to do. Make it multifaceted. Make it have a better menu of options of how do you want your order. If we're talking about food, I'm hungry. But that's what we want. You want to have a menu of options of how to do the same. Do you want your eggs scrambled, fried, poached, pureed? You want them in rice? Do you want it on the side? Do you want it mixed in? Do you want them over easy? You want your eggs with toast or without? The same doggone ingredient, same food, done in about 10 or 12 different ways. That's what you want. That's what you want. But yeah, he's a disgusting character, undisciplined fighter, and definitely doesn't deserve a shot. And like I said, character, it's been a mess. I'm hoping and praying that he's getting himself right like it needs to. Cause yeah, he's had a whole host and litany of problems. No question. We covered that multiple times. But strictly on the fight itself, this shouldn't be him. He's in a phase of retooling, of regrouping, of trying to work his way back up to the heights of, hey, this man can be a world champion. This man can be a title holder. Getting back to that ethos. He's not there right now, but he's getting that opportunity. If he loses at this point in time, with this opportunity given to him, it can be incredible. It can be incredible. Oh, it can be incredibly damaging. Let me say that reminder. Have you seen that female Korean boxer that literally throws just one? Have you seen that female Korean kickboxer that literally throws just one kick all the time? I don't think I have. But there's a Korean kickboxer who goes through and she throws one kick for the entirety of the fight and she wins. She throws a side kick and so I bet she be getting the job done. You know why? Because she knows how to throw it in any given situation. She can use it as a distance manager. She can use it as a power key. She can use it as a stamina sap. She can use it as a defensive tool, as a counter window. She could probably use that kick to both get in on a fighter and to escape if need be. Assuming. It's like Horwong on Tekken. If anybody's a Tekken fan, I'm a big Tekken fan. It's like Horwong. You throw that one jumping sidekick, and you're able to hop forward and backward with it loaded up, and it's one of the worst defense. It's one of the worst weapons in the game from the standpoint of I hate dealing with it. You know why? Because it's effective. For somebody who knows what they're doing, it's effective. It's effective. Let me see. Okay, no, so she's Japanese, not Korean. Mona Kimura. I'm gonna look her up, but I assume everything I'm saying about what I want Ryan Garcia to do is what she's doing. So again, we have living examples of how one trick can work if you know how to master it. And Ryan Garcia, as much as he has made that left hook one of the fastest I've ever seen, as with what piggybacking off of what Al Booger said, I also agree. It's one of the fastest hooks we've ever seen. It is an incredibly dangerous and damaging weapon, but at the same vein, it is very beatable because there ain't nothing behind it to set it up to the point that you have to worry about it at all times. All Rolly had to do was jab with Ryan Garcia and keep that left hook up, or keep that left hand up. That's what he did that. He did that for the double jab, occasionally the jab hook, which again caught him and knocked Ryan Garcia down. But after that, he just kept that phone to his ear, and he just boxed smart. And all of a sudden, Ryan Garcia was looking lost, didn't know what to do. It's a shame. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. Brian Norman Jr. got a better left hook than Garcia, and you might not be wrong. That's the thing. This isn't a bad sentiment to have.
Hey, look at that.
This ain't a bad sentiment.
We got the problems here.
As a tool, yes, I believe Ryan Garcia has a better left hook. But as a weapon, a usable weapon, Brian Norman is better. Because it's more well-rounded. It's better, the uses, not just with the timing, but also the delivery system surrounding it, which everything else about his game, his strong jab, his positioning to walk you down, shots to the body, his straight right, all of it helped to set up the left hook as a weapon of both unpredictability and damage, major damage, done in a way where it won't look the same every time it comes out, but it will indeed be effective because when he does use it, it's got a foundation of something to set it up and make it executable consistently. Right, this man has 2 knockout of the years, in part because of that left hook. Either as a setup tool or as a finishing blow. Either way, it's a multifaceted thing, and he knows how to use it better. He does, and if it don't work, guess what? He's got more to him. That's the thing. That's really why I don't want Ryan Garcia to fight and beat Barrios. I'm gonna be real. That's the real reason why. That's the honest truth. That's the real reason why I don't want Ryan Garcia to win that, to fight and potentially beat Barrios. Because if you do that, you may get your fight with Devin Haney. You might, absolutely, but you also might get matched up with Brian Norman Jr. And if we're gonna be real, if we see that Brian Norman does what he does against Devin Haney, and it comes out that he dominates Devin Haney, hypothetically, and you got to belt, all of a sudden now you got to fight him. And just like I said with Manny Pacquiao, when he was going to fight Barrios, and it was like, hey, if you do pull this out, you better stay far away from Brian Norman. I'm saying the same thing for Ryan Garcia. You are in a world of pain and a damaging career. A life-damaging career. If you go and you do win this fight, with where you are right now, and you fight Brian Norman, if Brian Norman comes out on top against Devin Haney, that is a crash course of absolute potential. That man, I don't want to see that because I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. I don't want to see that because I know what's gonna happen. What is it? Wait, hold on.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
I know what's gonna happen. That's gonna. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. That ain't gonna be pretty. That ain't gonna be pretty at all. That ain't gonna be pretty at all. I'm saying he definitely sets up his shots better than Ryan. He sets up all of his shots. And again, the reason this is important because Ryan Garcia, and this will be the last thing before we switch gears. Ryan Garcia is, how old is this player? Ryan Garcia is 27 years old. Ryan Garcia is 27. This is the time where Garcia and any other fighter either would be in the middle or starting to reach their real prime as a physical fighter. Of everything blends together. Again, anyway, it was 28 to 30, or it was like 27 to 30. With Boots, it was 28, and then he's in his real prime now. So we're gonna go with 28 to probably 33. With how Boots is physically, it might even be 34. Anyways, 32. His prime started at what, 27? About 27, 28 years old. With that 3-year stretch of insane dominance. This is about when we see fighters become the best that they can be. This is about when we start seeing it. This is roughly the time where the best version of any fighter comes to fruition, or at least starts to appear for the world to witness and enjoy. This is about it. From the standpoint of this is where the real run begins. 27 years old. Why do I say that? And it's not just with those two. Fabio Wardley's 30. That 3-year stretch of fights from 27 when he was getting wars with Frazier Clark, then KO of the year with Frazier Clark, now with the fight with Justin Tooney, then now with the fight with Joseph Parker. All of a sudden, hey brother, this is the stretch. This is the stretch. And he got into this sport late. He did some of the best performances in his career, and with a shot at the title right on the line, right here, right now, against Usyk is next. Because of that 3-year stretch of runs. Who else? Who else? Daniel Dubois, 28. You saw what happened in that 2-year, with 27, 26 to 27? After that loss to Joe Joyce, he went on a tear and went through from 26 to 28 years old, beating Jarrell Miller, beating Hergovich, beating Anthony Joshua and becoming heavyweight champion. Then going to fight against Usyk. Again, he lost, yes, but you saw before our eyes in that 27-year-old threshold that he changed as a fighter completely. This is where the run begins. And everybody else has made that move except for Ryan Garcia. Or at least has shown inklings that this is what I'm going to be. And again, he is just starting out, but it ain't looking good for what he is going to be as time goes on. Right now, I don't see it. Bam also has very good achievements, still getting better. And mind you, Bam is 24. Granted, mind you, Bam Rodriguez, excuse me, he's 25 years old. Bam is 25. Some people, it starts out early and it stays for a while what their prime is going to be. I mean, they hit the ground and it's like, oh my gosh. Bam's one of them. Bam's one of them ones. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's preposterous. He's already undisputed. And get ready to move up to 118. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. He's at 118 right now, I believe. Let me verify. Hold on. Let me verify now. Excuse me. He's at 115 right now. Getting ready to move up to 118. I can assume within the fight or two, after this fight with Fernando Daniel Martinez, just knocked out Kafu. Incredibly dangerous and hard-hitting fighter. Beat Juan Francisco Estrada. Beat and knocked out retired Sonny Edwards. Like that is legitimately insane. That actively should not be what's going on with him this early. But yet it is, because he's that good. He's that good. Everybody ain't that though. And so it's a testament. But with Ryan Garcia, he can start that run, but he hasn't done that run. And even the inklings of, hey, you're coming up on your prime. Let's see what you can do. Let's start to see at least some inklings of success. That ain't even there. And that's where I'm really concerned. That's why I'm really concerned. Let me see. Gross said Ryan is even being mentioned, given his record since 2023, plus missing weight and popping PEDs. WBC should be ashamed. And it's like, my thing is, he paid his time. He got punished. He got banned for a year. And he got annexed from getting a world championship shot at all. I am not mad that he's gotten the ban lifted. Like I said, I'm a fan of second chances. Do everything right, sure. You should be able to have a redemption. Be clean and be right, and then we'll be good to go. Absolutely. I have no problem there. But what my problem is the fact that the ban got lifted, but the positioning got elevated at the same time, and that is not how it's supposed to work. You now are in position to put yourself in line for a title, and will be able to fight for one when you get there. But you shouldn't be given an opportunity outright, especially with you being this much behind the eight ball with the last couple years. But WBC banned B-Ball to fight for the belt. And again, that goes back to the whole other conversation of hypocrisy with the commissions. Hypocrisy with belt commissions. What is WBC? What is IBF? What is WBA? Don't matter who. WBO, don't matter who. All of them. Like I said, WBC will ban B-Ball to fight for their belt. IBF stripped almost every recent undisputed champion immediately without giving them a shot to defend it. For no reason, even though there was already rematches done in place. WBO's had corruption. It's been a problematic. WBA has a whole litany of problems. If we were to talk about that, we'd be here all day long. We'd be here all day long. And this is where we are right now. But sadly, this is what we're doing. So we got to deal with where we're standing. Where we're standing is Garcia is in a position that he ain't ready for. If he wins the title, hey, fine, cool. You did it, and you did it clean. All right. I just doubt that one, he's up here. He's mentally ready, and even in his fighting ability, might not be where it needs to be. Though, I'm going to be, call me the fool, I'll lean towards Garcia. Because I'm hoping that he does what he lives up to what his ability is, and actually is able to handle a fighter in Barrios that I would think if he had elevated his game, I would be easily picking him. And I'm hoping he makes that adjustment when that fight takes place. But I don't know. We won't know. We have to find out even still. I mean, WBC is pretty political. Stripping people like that, totally gross by WBC as usual. Yeah, W still might be the worst. And it's look, like I said, we can if we were to have a discussion on which commission is worse or which council is worse, whatever the world you want to call them, which belt is the worst belt from the standpoint of acting and organizing. that we would not even have a show. We wouldn't have a show because again, all of them have fallen into the same traps. Sadly, that each of them said when they were incepted or when they were created that they wanted to stop because they saw the other belt messing up. Oh, we don't need to be that. We can be something different. Now they're doing the same thing. Oh, we don't need to be that. We can be something different. Now they're doing the same thing. Oh, we don't need to be that. We can do something different. And now they're all doing the same thing. It's shame. It's a real shame. Real shame. But sadly, it is what it is. But even still, WBA tried to convince people that anyway ducked in. Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that a whole bunch of, not just the WBA, a whole host of people were trying to say that he was ducking MJ. Knowing and watching what he had done throughout that whole stint of who he was fighting, how often he was fighting, and the people he was knocking out. Not just beating, but knocking out. So yeah, it ain't, again, it's a mess. It's a mess in every facet. But again, we still got more to talk about on this show because we don't want to delve too much into this. We already spent over an hour. We need to talk about the likes of Ortiz versus Lubin. That's right. Oh, yes, indeed. Hey, buddy. Oh, man. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, baby. This is the fight. This is the night. On this weekend, we finally have what's going to most likely be an absolute scorcher of an affair with Ortiz versus Lubin going up against each other. Winner, not just will get the one of the interim belts at 154, but will also most likely be in line to face off face to face in a fight next year against the likes of Boots Ennis. Oh Lord, oh man, oh my. Everything, we've been waiting on this. We've been waiting, and we have to, full disclaimer, the prize at hand is not necessarily in a title shot. The prize at hand is Boots. And the reason why I say that is because though whoever wins this will be interim, Eddie Hearn and Boots is walking in the ring was whoever wins that fight. Eddie Hearn and Boots said themselves, they're going to insinuate, they're going to be calling out whoever wins this fight. And most likely, with how the money's looking, it's going to be that whoever wins that fight is going to get a mega fight opportunity, or at least a big fight opportunity with Boots next year, come what, March or April. I can assume March or April, to fight to fight for a opportunity to get a championship, if that timeline makes sense. I'm not trying to pop up Boots as some end-all be-all, oh, nobody else matters. No, I'm saying strictly with this timeline of this fight. That's what it is. Because mind you, the whole thing right now is assumed if Virgil wins, he's fighting Boots straight up. And most people got Virgil winning. Most people. Most. But that's what we're going to talk about on today. Who's got this fight and what y'all think's going to happen? Absolutely. But it's going to be a barn burner. I can't wait for it. Made. What's going on with you? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Hey, please, if you haven't already, leave a like on the stream. Come on, get the likes up on this show. Let the public know exactly what we got going on. And tell everybody this is the hottest show in all to go. Keep on sharing the show. Keep on talking about it. Keep on being about it. Keep on interacting. Yes, indeed. Because it's always going to be great. We're going to have so much fun. Well, that's some good coffee right there. But as I'm taking a sip, we got so much to discuss because there's a lot surrounding this fight. There's a whole bunch surrounding this fight. But let me see what you all got to say first. Ortiz and Lubin, fantastic fight. Absolutely, it is. I'm telling you, from November this week on, I told y'all, November, you ain't gonna have time to rest. You ain't gonna have time to rest. November, you ain't gonna have time to rest. It's gonna be straight up. Something's happening just about every single week. Once Saturday comes, y'all better be ready. Because it's Ortiz and Lubin, Foster versus Fulton, Haney versus Norman, Yard versus Benavidez. It's Bam versus, who was it? Bam versus, defending the belt. Who was defending the belt? It was, excuse me. I'm sorry, Fernando Martinez. My apologies, 18-0. I was trying to find out who the opponent was. Yeah, nah. That's a war. That's a war. If you're unfamiliar with Fernando Martinez, who is indeed incredible fighter. Again, BoxRec, if you look up on BoxRec, but he's rated 5 stars. You know, one of the ranked number 1 in Argentina, ranked number 3 in the world as a whole. And this cat can box. He can box. He can really, like, I'm telling you. He got good enough power to at least make you respect him. But he can box with some of the best of this. Hey, we got some wars coming. Oh, don't forget, we got Inoue versus Picasso also happening in December. I think we got a couple other fights that's about to be happening in December. And then January, Baccarat's coming back. Potentially TL versus Shakur early in between January and March, if that fight ever gets agreed to. It's going to be just stuff. Something always happens. Something always transpires. We are not going to be able to rest. We ain't going to be able to rest at all. Because it's gonna be insane. Let me see. I can see Ortiz breaking down Lubin. Ortiz does well against styles like Lubin, especially movers. Let me see. Ortiz breaks him down. He cuts out the ring very well. Yes, he does. He indeed does. Here's the thing. With this fight, how do I say this? With this fight, are we not disrespecting? Are we underestimating Lubin's ability to really cause an upset? Are we underestimating Lubin's ability to really go and break up all of the perceived inclinations for what this fight is going to be? Genuine. Because this cat, he can be slick. And if you do mess up on what you're trying to do, and you give him an opening, he's got the pop to put you out. He does. Now, mind you, brother, this the same brother who went to war with Sebastian Fundora. He got knocked out, absolutely. But he knocked him down. He put him in some real trouble. Put him in some real trouble. Having to punch up to a skyscraper. Yeah, now this man gave him a world of trouble. A world of trouble. I'm telling you right now, man, it's going to be like, I don't want to look at Lubin and say that, oh, there's no opportunity. No, there is. There absolutely is. The counter opportunities of what Lubin can create is what I'm scared for when going up against Virgil Ortiz. Because I know he's got, I'm not saying, now I know Virgil Ortiz went to war with Botek. He's one of the toughest fighters out there. I understand the chin. I understand the heart and all this. I'm not going to question that. But I'm also saying you can't be put in a position where you don't want to go down, but you're going to be put down. Lubin has that capability. It's just how consistent will it be in this fight? Because if you are Virgil Ortiz, as again, we can start breaking down the fight. Since we're talking about it. Also, we got more people in the chat, like with Deborah Buckley. Hey, yo, Deborah, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. I believe that's Justin behind the screen. Appreciate you tuning in on the show. So glad you're with us on today. Hey, leave a like on the stream. Keep on getting the likes up. Keep on sharing the show. Love the interaction. I want to hear what you all have to say on today. No question about it, but let me keep on reading what everybody said. But you here, I'm glad that you here. Ortiz has better defense than Fundora. He does. He's a lot more patient as well. From the standpoint of, again, if we take that fight with Madrimov as an example, he didn't just come in rushing blindly trying to go for broke. He went and waited as openings and as the speed of the fight slowed down. He upped the pace in his own game. Madrimov got slower. He got quicker. And he didn't push himself to try to just catch him. Very much disciplined. Now, again, we've seen Fundora get more disciplined since that fight with Lubin, since that fight with Mendoza, since those other fights, since he beat Tim Tszyu. Absolutely, especially with the second fight with Tim Tszyu, where we saw, hey, this man was actually willing to stick on the outside and work. And we saw what he did, made him quit. But even still, his defense, his league's better. His offense, his offensive ability is something that is unquestioned. And it's something that can give Lubin a world of trouble. Don't forget Ortiz's chin sometimes is, I mean, I don't want to say it. It's not suspect. It's a good chin. And he will get up. But I wouldn't say it's suspect just because he got knocked down. His ability to keep on fighting like he needs to fight, even after getting caught, yeah, it can be enough to carry him to the day if it needs to dig there. He can go there if he needs to. Now, I'm not saying it's Canelo's chin. I'm not saying it's the chin of, Dave Benavidez when he was at 116. I'm not saying it's Rocky Marciano. I ain't saying that, but I am saying it's more than respectable. He's got a quality chin on him. At least from my vantage point. Barring the Boa Chuck knockdowns out. It's been pretty consistent, but again, he's susceptible. But it's not that it is so dangerous. Again, we're not talking about him like Devin Haney. You get what I'm saying? That's a suspect chin. We're not talking about him like Amir Khan. That is a suspect chin. Virgil Ortiz got a good chin. You can have a good chin and get put down. You can't. You can't. I've seen it. You can have a good chin and just get put down. You really can't. It only takes one hit to hit somebody right, but again, for the majority, I would say it's pretty decent. Ortiz defense has improved a lot. I got Ortiz, but man, it should be a good fight. The one thing I like about Ortiz, even if the fight doesn't go his way, he does not get frustrated. Yeah, no, that's it. And so let's break down the fight. Come on. Let me break down the fight. Let me give you all my thoughts on this whole thing. In regards to the prediction for this fight, I have Ortiz winning. I do. I have Ortiz winning this fight. Now, I got him winning by either knockout or unanimous decision. I would assume. Not by unanimous that he wins every round, but unanimous as in, like, as the fight goes on, he starts to take over, and then boom, 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 we see the damage incur. And then either Lubin gets broken down and he gets put out, or he just gets beat to where he can't come back type of situation. That's where I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. But regardless of that, I understand that Lubin's movement and his ability to potentially cause some counters on Ortiz is a dangerous concern. Again, he's got some good feet. He has a good jab. He's got power. Real power. And Lubin is smart. And if anything, as much as we talk about Ortiz willing to go to war, Lubin's also willing to go and dig down deep with a fighter if need be. He's willing to do it. There's a reason why this fight is what it is, because he's willing to go through and legit be like, hey, yo, you want to go? We got a brawl. We'll brawl. And I guarantee you I will hold my own. All of that is something that is dangerous. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a little concerned with the hand speed of Lubin going into this fight with Ortiz. I am. Now, if I'm just being blinded by cowardice, okay, fine. Cool. Sue me. Tell me. Let me know. But I am a little bit concerned with that hand speed of Erickson Lubin when he goes in and throw combinations against Virgil Ortiz. I am, especially off the back foot. With Ortiz coming forward, if he does, I'm not saying he will, if he does get over aggressive, he can get caught with a three-piece flurry. Potentially. And also, if Lubin sees that Ortiz is on the ropes and he tries to pressure, it could be that we see some shots start getting through because he's got some good combination flow. But even with all that being the case, and the understood notion that, yeah, he can catch and potentially knock out the likes of Ortiz and his offense is predicated on not just flooding the basement, but making you fearful of the flood in the first place. He can make it so that you are so demonstratively against the body attack that he wants to have. You preemptively pushing yourself back into a corner. Again, Madrimov, perfect example. Every time we saw Ortiz go and try to engage with Madrimov, he was patient, he waited, and at the same vein, guess what else he did? He went and stood his ground. And his neutral pressure forced Majimov, even when he wanted to try to gain some forward momentum, to have to step back. Now, I'm not saying Majimov is Lubin. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying I've seen that on multiple occasions as well. I've seen that in the Boachuk fight. When Boachuk, even when he had the knockdowns, he was still Ortiz marching forward and controlling the pressure. Not saying that he won or lost that fight. Again, that fight, I believe that was Boachuk. No, I believe it was Virgil Ortiz that won, and people felt that Boachuk should have won. But even still, that was an insane war. But regardless of which, we saw even in that fight, even after being hurt, it was Virgil Ortiz still moving forward. He is one of the fighters that doesn't let himself be put on the back foot. He's able to stay put and force you to have to be the man. Even if you don't want to back up, almost unconsciously. Against Lubin, we could see that same thing take place. Especially if we see the damaging body attacks start to really rack up damage and rack up sapping of the energy on Lubin. And if that takes place, the next thing you know, hey Lubin, you're gonna be in a fight. You're gonna be put in a war, but it's gonna be that you in a war, but you're always the one giving up ground. You're slowly backing up. You're slowly. Yeah, you ain't even thinking about it. You're just slowly getting further and further when you boom, 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 and all of a sudden you back up more, boom, 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 and then you back up some more. You try to re-engage, and you come back closer, and then you're going and you tip-tapping, and you're doing all that stuff, and then you keep on backing up some more, and the next thing you know, you all the way at the ropes. Next thing you know, you all the way back here. And you were like, wait a minute, I was going, and I'm throwing, I'm doing combinations, I'm digging to the body, I'm going through, I'm doubling up, I'm slipping, I'm fighting on the inside, I'm throwing smart shots, I'm trying to throw short up because I feel like I'm fighting with Ortiz. But all of a sudden, I'm back here in the corner. I'm hearing my cornerman talk to me. Get out. What do you mean get out? How did I get here? That's where we can see Ortiz, that's what we can see, Ortiz do to Lubin. That's what we can see him do. We can see this man make Lubin have to go back. Though Lubin wants to go to war, he might want to engage. He might want to stand in back. Because again, I'm telling you, it's going to devolve into just a straight up fight at some point. Ortiz does that to every opponent. Majimov got turned into a war. Boachuk got turned into a war. Every single fight he's won by knockout or decision, it's got turned into a war. And once that war took place, it was always the opponent, when he was trying not to give ground, still giving ground. When he was trying to fight forward, he was still getting pushed back. When they are trying to apply the pressure and they feel like, okay, I'm doing some good work, it is so, it's so deceiving. And next thing you know, they're oh gosh, oh, I'm tired, I'm winded, I'm breathing heavy. What happened? It's an illusion. You know what it is? It's a bankai. If anybody watched Bleach, again, I'm a big anime fan. Like I said, I wear my fandom on my sleeve. Big anime fan. If you watched Bleach, I believe it's is it Sosen? Is it Eisen? Buddy with the glasses, the big bad villain. The big bad villain in Bleach. They got like put in jail for like tens of thousands a year, something like that. Shoot, I need to look him up now. But I'm gonna look it up now. But in Bleach, there was it's a sword fighting anime. It's like a whole soul society. Everybody's got these big old swords, and everybody's got different powers and all that. Really, really cool. If you can look it up. It's on Hulu. Phenomenal. It is a great show. Phenomenal show. But one of the villains had a power where you could go and you could, Sosuke Eisen, that was his name. Sosuke Eisen was the brother. this man was able to go through, and you could fight all well and good. Kingdom come, you blitzing this cat. You going and you doing damage. Everything that you just going through. And all of a sudden you turn around and he ain't there. Oh, what happened? Oh, shoot. All that damage got inflicted on me. I thought I was beating him up. Another perfect example, anime world. You got Itachi. Genjutsu. Sasuke was acting like he was if you watch the show, Sasuke, the other one of the co-villains and or heroes, depending on where you are in the series, was going through, beating up on him. I'm talking about going to war, left, right, and center. Next thing you know, he looks at the ground, his brother points up, and then he points out, then he points to the left, and the next thing you know, he's sitting on a throne. You've been punching air the entire 10 minutes you've been here. Because you've been fooled. All that momentum that you thought you had was not real. Again, you got put in the genjutsu. You got pulled into a fight that you thought you had the upper hand in. Yet I've been able to sit pretty the entire time, and it's you who's feeling all the effects of the damage and pain. And you're asking what happened. I was doing everything right. You were. You were. But you were also playing my game. You were playing my game. That's what was going on. That's what was going on. And so because of that, that's what I genuinely, that's what I think we're going to see with Lubin. We're going to see this man. Most likely start out trying to jab. We're going to see Ortiz probably be patient. Do what Ortiz normally does, and then amp up the pressure as time goes on. Or Lubin goes with the jabs and starts upping his volume and upping his combinations a little bit more. Starts trying to deke in and out. Tries to take some angles. You might even do that split that split footwork thing that he did in that one fight where he knocked Butter out after he like ducked down. Like he went like this. Or I can't really drop in my chair. But he went like this and like split his legs out and then brought him back in, but instinctively gained distance by doing that. And then lunged in for a right hand and knocked him out. Oh, left hand and knocked him out. But either way, he could bring that out. He could be. Oh man, he's looking good. The next thing you know, by round 5, you're gonna see a shift. You're gonna feel a difference. You're gonna see that something's starting to change in this fight. Or Lubin may even win round 5. I dare say he might win the first 4 rounds. And in round 5, you'll see Lubin might win, but there's going to be you're going to feel it. Something's going to change. And you're going to see Ortiz all of a sudden, his shots are starting to they're starting to feel more. His shots are starting to make Lubin think. His shots are starting to make Lubin get, I'm not desperate, but get more active. I got to fight you off of me. Though I was in control. And then that's when the beginning of the end starts. Then after that, we're going to see him knock him out. Or get it again, unanimous decision. Most likely. And again, if we do see, I'm sorry, I had something eyelash. But if we do see this fight go late, again, we could see Lubin knock him out, absolutely. But if we do see this fight go late, it could end up just like that Fundora fight. It could end up just like that Fundora fight. And with Ortiz being better offensively than Fundora. Oh yeah. Especially with those setting up them short shots. Oh buddy. Lubin better be careful, because if that wall hits you by round 8 and you then still try to go and work, I'm telling you, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. And it's going to be bad. You're going to get, I don't deny that Lubin doesn't have the ability to be something and to do some great stuff in this. Absolutely. It's going to be a war. I'm not picking him to go against Ortiz if it turns into the firefight I think it's going to be. And it won't be anything but. It won't. It won't be anything but. So we're gonna see Ortiz beat this man either by knockout, probably in the shoot, I'll say the 11th round. Either by knockout in the 11th round or by unanimous decision. That's my pick, and I'm sticking to it. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show. Let me see. He remains focused and starts to make adjustments and breaks down his opponent. Yes, he does. Absolutely. I think Virgil has solid defense, like C+ to B- defense, in my opinion. I'm like, sometimes, now I'm going to say sometimes his defense depends on the style of the opponent. Because at times, yeah, he's had great defensive work, and at other times, it's been like, it's nitty gritty. Now, you getting caught with some stuff that I'm thinking you're not getting caught with, but that's also because, well, that's not how I feel I need to fight. I don't need to worry about not getting hit right now. I got to make sure against this style, I'm going and getting what I need. So, I'll risk some hits to make sure I land the better, proper punches. Type of situation. So it can fluctuate. Now, I would hope that we see that B- level or even B+ level, shoot, straight up B level defense on the weekend. I hope. Because again, as much as his defense has improved, Lubin is still a threat that if you don't guard yourself properly, he can stop this show quick. He can. He can't. We keep, I think, as much as people may say that this fight is an affair of a great clash, but an understood situation that this is a precursor to the big fight next year with Ortiz and Lubin. People still aren't giving Lubin the respect of what he can be as a fighter. And it's like it is. It can be a danger. I would say that. If you don't take this man seriously, if you don't really understand that this cat can go through and truly like mess up your day, he'll put you out. He will put you out. Quick. He'll do it quick. He will do it quick and in a hurry. Quick and in a hurry. I mean, again, as much. Ortiz is what? 27-0? 24 KOs on his resume, I believe. 23-0, 21 KOs on his resume. That's Ortiz. Erickson Lubin is 27-3, 19 KOs. We talk about Ortiz having the power advantage. Erickson Lubin is also one of the hardest punchers in this division, period. Like that is a factual statement. He's fought more and has nearly as much knockouts. I understand that, absolutely. Ortiz has a higher knockout ratio. But Lubin ain't that far behind. And Lubin been in the game for a little bit longer. So I'm like, you better watch out. Better watch out, because it can get scary. It can get scary. I still got Ortiz winning, but I know, this can be something serious. Ortiz body shots can nullify Lubin's counters. He has excellent body shots. Yes, he does. I got Ortiz in 10. Hey, I got him in 11 if it's going to be by a knockout. So we're going to see if that does indeed take place. Let me see. Buckles, Lubin has to have a knockout to win. Most likely. Unless if we see this man really be attentive to taking the style of Madrimov and using that in this style or using that in this fight. Really being deliberate and trying to say, I'm a move. You ain't gonna touch me. You ain't gonna catch. I'm not gonna let you come through and attempt to work like you want to work. And I'm gonna be deliberate and you coming about and really having to be frustrated. And potentially, unlike Madrimov, I'm gonna be able to sustain that for 12 rounds. Hypothetically. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying if he does, that can give him some trouble. That can give him some concerns. That can give him a way to mess up. Or cause Ortiz to mess up. Because that frustration level It can happen. And it can absolutely happen. I'm telling you, it can happen. But I, most likely, yeah, I got, not even most likely, I have Ortiz winning. I just know, man, there's a multiplicity of ways this fight can go. I would assume Lubin wants to go to war and he won't want to fight like that. But yeah, it's a possibility that he will. Ortiz has the beautiful combinations. He mixes the punches up very well. He does. He really does. He truly does. And with that being the case, now that we broke down the fight, you got who I got winning this fight. Hey, phenomenal. Absolutely. We can now discuss with the most likely scenario being Boots versus Virgil Ortiz if this fight takes place and he wins against Lubin. What type of performance do you need to see from Virgil Ortiz to make you think he can beat Boots if they fight, if you don't think he can beat him already? And it's a real conversation because I'm not trying just to say, oh, everybody's, Lubin ain't Boots, so you're going to be in a tough time. I'm not doing that. I'm saying genuinely, a lot of people are looking at this fight, not just because this fight is great, but they're looking, a lot of fans, hopefully Ortiz isn't, but a lot of fans are looking past this fight because of the amped up rhetoric that we're going to see Boots and Ortiz. So this fight is like it's a great appetizer, but it's not what everybody really wants to see. And they're hoping that this goes one way so they can see the big meal, the actual main course of Boots versus Ortiz, since that is what we're looking at as a potential possibility. What type of performances does Ortiz need to have in this fight to really stamp that, okay, yeah, this man is not just a huge threat, but he's valid? Because I can guarantee you there is going to be a large swath of people that if we see Ortiz and Lubin not just go to war, but we see Ortiz potentially struggle. We see Ortiz go through and be like, oh man, he's actually getting, he's getting pieced up a little bit now. Lubin's starting to really give it to him at some points in this fight more often than we would like. Even in a knockdown, drag-out type of brawl, in a great fight, it can be seen as, oh, Boots is not going to fight like that. And Boots is not going to be that much of a stand and bang, I'm there for you to hit me type of situation. So what's Ortiz going to do with that? And then if we do see Lubin's onslaught effectively be able to, he's giving Ortiz some real trouble. And I'm telling you, that can sway a lot of people and give a lot of people a new frame of thought. But I want to know from you, what type of performance do you want to see from Ortiz going into this fight in order to give you some confidence or to further validate what you feel that, yeah, Ortiz can handle Boots if this goes Ortiz's way. But it's got to look a certain way for me to have a definitive, yeah, we know what it can be. But let me see. If he breaks down Lubin, I think he will be prepared for Boots. Lubin could be good preparation for the Boots fight. Boots does sometimes fight in the pocket and get reckless. See, that's true. That's true. He does. You know what my thing's going to be? You're absolutely right, Amen. You're absolutely right. Boots will fight in the pocket. He sometimes get reckless. Boots also, over the last two fights, has not been the same fighter that he was against Avanesian or Shukajan in both of the Shukajan fights. He has. Even against Lima, while he was being aggressive, though again, I'm not saying Lima's this up here type of talent, but even against Lima, while he was trying to go for the KO early and get him out of there, he was also still actively looking for slips and opportunities to get away from shots instead of just trying to tank what Lima was throwing. Most of the combinations that he was landing on Lima came off of subtle counters. The uppercut, the one that started it all, the uppercut came off of of him looking for an opportunity to slip and then slipping while coming forward and then boom, landing outright, punching off angle similar to Bam Rodriguez. This is the type of Boots that we were seeing against Stanionis as well. It looks like Boots is a different fighter. And I don't think that the recklessness is going to be the same. That's good. What I want to see. Well, actually, before I say that, let me read you all this chat real quick. Then I'm gonna keep on going. Cause someone has not pushed him to the limit like Karin. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Someone hasn't pushed him to the limit like Karin, and Boots has indeed, or at least looks more deliberate defensively now than he did versus Karin. Both statements are indeed absolutely true, which is why this is such a unique amalgamation of context and situations surrounding this fight, because there's a lot that we can pull from, but there's also a lot that is improved upon from Boots in both of these situations. So if Ortiz puts him in that situation, old habits could come back. So that, absolutely, oh my gosh, that's the biggest fear. That is the biggest fear, that we see old habits come back. You beat me to the point, but that's what I was trying to lead up to. Old habits for Boots Ennis against Virgil Ortiz could come back if he gets put into that type of firefight. And it's that much, against Stanionis kept on trying to apply pressure, but Boots was able to get around it and do what he needed to do. But with Ortiz, it ain't Stanionis. If, in fact, Ortiz wins, and that ain't a fight that is going to be, it's not going to be that easy just to go and fight off the back foot with that level of success. Now, if he makes it easy, okay, fine. Again, this is if Ortiz wins. I can say. But in looking at it, it's a concern that this man, if it works out that, hey, all of a sudden he's getting touched up, he can get annoyed again, he can get frustrated again, he can let his guard down again, he can try just to get some get back again, instead of working on the fundamental soundness of defense that we've seen him do for the past 2 fights. And it could be, the old Boots is back. Now that makes for an exciting fight. That makes for an incredible fight. That makes for a fight where you don't know who's going to win, because anybody can get put to sleep in that type of affair. Absolutely. If Boots is doing that, that's leagues better for the likes of Virgil Ortiz with his potential to win if he does get reckless. And he does say, I don't need to, I can take your punches. It's whatever. I don't feel like being the person. We don't want to see that. We don't. But the reason why this, hold on, we got more people chat. I need to see a little bit of Ortiz to be convinced that he can beat Boots. And you're right. At least from the perspective of, if you are not convinced that Boots will, if you're not convinced that Ortiz can beat Boots, then what is it that you want to see in this fight from Lubin? Because I got my thing. What I want to see from Boots in this fight, I want to see this cat, not Boots. Not Boots. My apologies. What I want to see from this fight with Ortiz versus Lubin, if Lubin does lose and Ortiz get this victory, I want to see Ortiz not waste punches. Now, what does that mean? That's not me saying he's just recklessly throwing left, right, and center and doing all that stuff. What I'm saying is, I don't want to see it while I'm seeing multiple instances of Ortiz swinging and missing wildly to the point where he is in a position to get countered in a window that Boots wouldn't be able to access, but Lubin would. That's my biggest concern. As much as I'm scared of Lubin's counters against Ortiz, I'm definitely afraid of that when it comes to Boots versus Ortiz. Because I guarantee you, there's going to be some times in this fight where we're going to see Ortiz make some decisions offensively that's going to put this man in way well and good out of position. And Lubin might not have the capacity to get to him and get him tag on that window in time. But Boots will. Because Boots is a better athletic fighter and better instinctual fighter. Better speed and all that stuff. And I think he's a better fighter as a whole. But if we can see Ortiz not waste punches, always punching within his range, never making it so that it's an easy window to tag him, then you got something now. You got something. And Ortiz doesn't waste punches like it used to. And you're right. You're right. He's gotten leagues better than he used to be. Absolutely. We can applaud the progress. We can absolutely applaud the progress. But what we also have to be, just like we said with Boots, old habits died hard, Virgil Ortiz, that same thing can happen. Old habits can die hard with Virgil Ortiz as well. Especially if things start not going his way. That's why this is such an interesting dichotomy. Part of the reason why this fight with Ortiz and Boots is so exciting down the line is because both of them, to some degree, are dealing with the same stuff. Both of them have gotten better from the mistakes that they used to make. Absolutely. But both of them are one bad situation away from going back to the very things that we were saying will get you beat by the other man. If Ortiz made the same issues and got overly reckless, wasn't as disciplined, wasted shots, going and throwing to a place where he wasn't in range or trying to take too big of a chance, and then boom, he misses, puts it out of position. Well, we are saying somebody like Boots would be able to go through and clean you up if you make those same mistakes that consistently. At the same vein, Boots, with his lack of defensive discipline and willingness to say, I don't need defense to go and win a fight because I can just tank whatever you do, and then I'm just too good for you to do anything with me offensively. So I don't gotta have as much fervor with being fundamentally sound. We were all saying somebody like Ortiz will clean you up if you go and fight at that level, if you're fighting like this. And for both of them, if old habits come back, each one can knock out the other because of that very pitfall. And so that's what makes this fight so exciting. At least for me, that's what makes, because we're going to see how much discipline have you really garnered for Ortiz going up against Lubin, and then for Boots. With what you saw against Lima, Poirot, and then what we saw, not Poirot, what we saw against Lima, then what we saw against Stanionis. Now going into the Boots fight, we're eking to see what it is. Because now we got at least some track record with what Boots is at 154 now. Now we know what Virgil Ortiz is as well, but against Lubin, this is a fight that can bring out something both better and for worse. And I'm telling you, we're gonna find something out. We're gonna find something out. Let me see. He seems to be getting better. Ortiz does not get frustrated. He's always stays disciplined. Where Boots does get frustrated, I see him getting frustrated. First while Ortiz will keep his cool. Probably. If we see that, again, this is all off the backs of if that fight happens and Ortiz does win, because let's be clear, Ortiz has to win this. Be clear. Ortiz has to win this fight to get the fight with Boots. He has to. Like, legitimately, he has to. If not, we could see that fight happen well and good later with Boots moving on. Saying, all right, I'll face Lubin, then I'm going after the world title, and now you got to go and work your way up to get to me. Type of situation. If it goes that route. Big if, but if nonetheless. What's it? But with Boots and with Ortiz, when it comes to them being frustrated, Ortiz probably will stay calm, cool, and collected. And Ortiz will probably be the one that will be more even killed again, especially like we've been seeing for the last couple fights of his career. Absolutely. He's gotten better. It's just the understanding of when things don't go your way, how will you respond and what will happen? That's question number one. And then question number two, when looking at that fight between the two, based on what this performance is going to be, even while you are disciplined, what openings will you still let yourself have? Because, again, for me, it is deathly serious that we cannot see Virgil Ortiz go and, as much of a disciplined fighter as he is, which you ain't gonna hear me say against, as much of a disciplined fighter as he is, even in that discipline, he can still make decisions that Erickson and Lubin can't capitalize on. But I know Boots can. That's my biggest concern. Even beyond just the ability to say, oh, he might get frustrated and go back to old habits on Virgil Ortiz's part. If he doesn't go back to the old habits, still, what openings does he give and what openings does he take away? Because my biggest issue with this whole fight, both with Lubin and with Boots, is the counters. That's my whole issue. That's my whole issue. It's not the war. It's not the potential. We got to dig deep. It's not the discipline. It is the counters. It's the counters that can happen against Ortiz. How much does he mitigate that risk with how disciplined he is right now? That is my biggest concern. If that gets answered in a light that I'm not satisfied with in this fight with Lubin, it's going to be really hard then for me to say that I can confidently pick Ortiz to win. It's going to be really hard. But if it is done right, then yeah, that brings up a whole new dichotomy of options. And a better inkling for me to say that, yeah, hey, he can take it. Well, that's what we're going to find out. We definitely going to find out. But let me see. Ramon Vasquez, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy to hear with this on today. Boots Ennis is a good boxer. But I don't know how much better, Boots Ennis is a good boxer. But I don't know how much better than Ortiz. Ortiz has underrated boxing skills. You're right. Ortiz is a smarter boxer. He will know how to take Boots' strengths away. And that's where, well, I know what I was trying to say. That's where experience comes into play, which is another aspect in this fight. Because with Ortiz, he might have less fights than Boots, but he has more experience than Boots because of the caliber of talent that he's been in the ring with for his career. Has been, regardless of what we want to say about Boots, about Boots Ennis and the hot start and the 30-0 and was it 29 knockouts that he had on his resume? Regardless of that, Ortiz has fought on a higher level, on a more consistent basis than Boots has for his entire career. That's not, and that's not me trying to be mean. That's not me trying to be somebody who is a hater. That's the reality. Boots has more fights than Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz has higher levels of legitimate experience at a championship or at a championship-esque type caliber than the likes of Boots Ennis. And again, it's not me trying just to say that he's a bum. It's not me trying to say that he's just, it is what it is. That can take into effect. Now, I'm going to say this. if we do see that Boots' IQ, when pushed and tested, not just able to stand up, but is able to be legit what we think it can be, when actually pushed to the limit, Ortiz is going to be in trouble. For anybody supporting Ortiz, and I hope he wins this fight. I hope we get the fight with Boots and all that stuff. And I want to see, because Ortiz said himself, hey, I haven't gotten the opportunities to make my name like with Boots and other fighters. This is my shot, and then when I get it, I'm gonna be off and running. No question. Let's hope it happens. But you also better hope and pray that the experience argument and the boxing IQ, because of who Ortiz is facing, gotta hope that stands up. Because if it doesn't, Boots is that's gonna be bad. I'm gonna say that right now. The biggest aspect is why this fight is so intriguing for me, on top of everything else, is because of the fact that, hey, we can see Virgil Ortiz legitimately potentially outthink Boots. And he's a different breed than anybody else in Boots' sport. I have no issue saying it. None whatsoever. At that same breath, this could be, as much as we talk about Roy Jones Jr. and Boots compared to each other, the semblance of, man, there's that it factor, that difference in ability, that difference in caliber that everybody else just doesn't have. Also, he was a genius boxer. I'm not saying Boots is on that same level as IQ. But I am saying, if it turns out that we see that, okay, yeah, this man can think at a similar level at which he fights, that all of a sudden, that Boots is going to be in, Virgil's going to be in some trouble. Virgil's going to be in some trouble. He's going to be in some trouble. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. And I've been giving Virgil benefit of the doubt from an IQ standpoint, experience standpoint. You've seen everything. You've done everything. This, that, and the third. I completely get that. No issue there. Erickson Lubin, another phenomenal name to face off against, who again has been at a world championship caliber, who brings a lot of different tools to the tool belt, has some characteristics of semblances from the standpoint of, we've seen Boots fight in a style somewhat similar, or at least having echoes of what Erickson Lubin can do. I'm not saying he is Erickson Lubin. I'm saying his Boots has fought to some degree like Lubin in some regards. So, good litmus test. And the caliber of talent is, again, high. All of that, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to Virgil Ortiz. Understandably so. But I'm telling you, what I said years ago could still hold true today. And as Armin Rhoda says, when Boots gets pushed to the limit, he does not look like he knows what to do. He seems lost. And this very comment, no issue there from the standpoint of track record. Also, please leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. But for track record, yeah, sure, absolutely. But look at it from this perspective. I said years ago, not years ago, excuse me. I said, I think earlier this year, Boots Ennis is a fighter. The bigger he gets, the better he's going to be. The bigger he elevates as a weight and as a fighter, the better he's going to be as a fighter. And to add on to that, the better competition that's in front of him, the better he's going to show up. I don't say that for many. I don't say that for most. Because that ain't always the case. What is the case is that he's got that inclination of ability that we could be seeing this man. It ain't many that can do this, but it looks like he's got that in him. The better the caliber of talent gets, the better he fights like. Again, Sugar John absolutely annoyed, struggled. Second fight, again, still struggled, even though Sugar John fought him more on the inside. We see movers still concerned, still giving trouble. But because Virgil Ortiz also falls into the category of the type of fighter that Boots is able to deal with, somebody who comes forward, somebody who is very much a pressure fighter, somebody who goes through and is able to apply consistent work, can be a relentless force, can be somebody that goes through and has got not just good power, but won't let up no matter what you do. Like with Ramon Villa, like with David Avenese. Those types of fighters are the fights that Boots loves to fight. That's the style that works with him the most. That's the style that works with him the best. That's the style that makes him look the best that he can be. But at the same time, he hasn't fought like that at this high of a caliber. Or he hasn't fought that type of style that's had this much of a caliber to it. Boots is built to beat Ortiz because of the style that Ortiz fights in. Boots is also susceptible to get put in a similar situation like with Sugar John, but he can't get out of it. Because remember, the second fight with Sugar John stayed in the pocket. Second fight with Sugar John was shooting tit for tat with the brother. Second fight with Sugar John was trading with Boots. And when somebody's able to operate within the mid-range and really has some elusiveness or IQ to him, that's where it can be a struggle. That's where it can be a struggle, absolutely. And to a degree, that's where Virgil Ortiz falls under. Not to a degree, that is where Virgil Ortiz falls under. Mid-range, close range, he can do work, great work, insane work, absolutely, and he's smart. Can slip, duck, exit out, punch and turn you around, all that stuff, while still being incredibly powerful. That is what he's going up against potentially in Virgil Ortiz. And as much as that is a style that can make Boots, that's also a style, if done correctly, that can make him look really vulnerable. Which is why I'm interested to see what this fight's going to be like with Ortiz and Lubin, if Ortiz gets this win. Because that range is where I want to see how Ortiz, against somebody that has some qualities to Boots, especially in the countering vicinity, goes through and acts like. That's what I'm interested in. That's what makes it so enticing. And so at least that's my 2 cents on it. Let me see. As goes as Boots, is I wonder why he don't get big fights. Like, as good as Boots is, I wonder why he doesn't get big fights like Virgil has. Now, again, Virgil's been also saying that he hasn't gotten big fights either. If you want to be honest, Boots is huge risk, and he's gaining the reward to make it worthwhile, but he's not at the reward level to make it worthwhile. I get it. He just saying. Boots is not yet the cash cow and the name recognition. He's not at the recognition level necessary to make it worth fighting. Similar to Backwam. Backwam, same thing. Backwam is not at the name recognition level to make it, even though he's got a belt, to make it worth fighting. Because it's like, hey man, you can get put to sleep and people don't know who Backwam is. And now, you wasted what could have been a bigger payday on another fight, or waited for him to get bigger before you lose to him. People don't want to take that risk. People don't want to take that risk. There's another fighter. There's another fighter that's getting iced out. I can't remember his name. There's another fighter that's getting iced out because he is too dangerous of an opponent, yet he is not marketable enough. It eludes me. I had it on the tip of my tongue. It just left me. But that's in part why we see Boots not get what he's getting. He's gaining that cachet now. He is reaching that zenith now because he's moving like we asked him to move. Finally. But that's why we see what we see. Now again, he got a fight with Stanionis. That was a big time deal. And he finally he earned and committed to his shot to get it to go and get the belts and unify. Great. He did what he was supposed to do. And now the cachet is starting to fall behind, because starting to catch up, because he is chasing legitimately legacy and going after belts and names and actually committing to, I want to fight everybody under the sun. Okay, I'm going to fight everybody under the sun. He's doing it. I love it. I'm happy. I'm excited. Boots is now getting to a level where he's going to be unavoidable. If he keeps on winning, if he keeps on having this consistent, not just constant ethos in names, ethos in the boxing world with his name, but constant production against high level competition that he said he wants to fight now. Because then he called out Backwam, he called out Fundora, he called out Keith Thurman, he called out everybody. He sticks to that, yeah, it's going to be worthwhile fighting. But that's why he wasn't getting fights a lot of times. Because he was too big of a risk. Or, like I said a couple weeks ago, when he got to this level, the fights that we did want to see, they had gone on to do other great stuff. Again, Crawford, we wanted to see him versus Boots. Crawford went up to 154 after beating Spence to go fight for a title and then went up to 168 to fight Canelo. So that's why that didn't happen. Because he kept on chasing bigger and bigger greatness, legitimately. And we ain't going to speak about that because we know this man is indeed one of the greatest we've ever seen. And he proved it. He proved it. He didn't run. He went to test himself. Boots versus Brian Norman. Brian Norman got to the level, but then Boots said, I need to go and move up. And he finally actually did move up to 154. And now he's going after undisputed at 154. Hopefully going from 154 to 168, trying to become undisputed. Hopefully. Hopefully. But let me see. When was Boots pushed to the limit? Boots, the most struggle I've seen Boots in was the struggle against Shukajan. That's the most struggle. I'm not going to say that was the limit, but that was the most struggle I've seen him in his career. For me watching him fight. That's the most I've seen him struggle. I'm not saying that's the limit. I'm not saying that's the worst he's going to get beat or the worst he will ever be beat. Or the worst he will ever, be put to task against. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that is the most, throughout his career, that I've seen him really test it and be like, hey, there's some stuff that needs to get worked on because you ain't where you, hey, we see it in your face and we see it in the fight. You ain't, you getting pushed. Might not be to the limit, but you getting pushed nonetheless. That's what I can say definitively. Now, in lieu of that, he hasn't been pushed hard since because he's been able to outclass everybody else. Yeah. And from the standpoint of winning a fight with ease, nearly everybody else he's been able to outclass like he wanted to. Shukajan was the most struggle I've seen him in, where he was like, dang, he is vulnerable. But outside of that, yeah, it's been for the most part. He ain't been pushed. He ain't been tested. Standing on this, we even said on this channel, was the biggest test that Boots had. That was the most legitimate, credentialed fighter Boots had fought in his career for the unified title at 147, and he beat him going away and knocked him out to the body with uppercuts and won nearly just about every round of that fight. And it was like, oh man, hey, that wasn't a test. This man's good. This man got better from the struggles that he had with Avanesian and more specifically with the struggles that he had with Shukajan. So yeah, the biggest test with Shukajan from the standpoint of pushing you to the limit. But I'm not saying that was the limit for the likes of Boots. I'm not saying he can't get pushed to that level again. I'm not saying there ain't somebody out there that can do it, because there definitely is. But since that fight with Shukajan, we saw improvement after improvement. So will he get pushed to that level again? We're going to have to find out. But up to the limit, he's never reached the limit. But he has been pushed. He has been pushed. Now, afterwards, again, he got better. And then we saw what happened. Then we saw what happened. But he has been pushed to some degree. Even if it ain't against the top names. Yeah, he has been pushed. But it definitely ain't been to the limit. It definitely hasn't been, at least to me, it hasn't been to the limit. Let me see. Let me see. Boots, he is untested. And again, like Stanionis was the test. Mike, Stanionis was the test. Be clear. Be clear. Stanionis at 147 was the test. No, on this channel, we even said, people in the chat as well, all said, we can't call Boots the best at 147 until he beats Stanionis. That's the most accomplished boxer. It is the most immediate view that's going to validate what he can be and what he can do. That's a fighter that knows how to fight on the inside. That's a fighter that's got some pop and pressure. That's a fighter that's got good defense. That's a fighter that can, if anybody was going to give Boots a legitimate struggle, when we were saying we have all these concerns, it's Stanionis. And he walked through them. And we said, okay, he's the best 147 pounder with that win. Because that was the requisite test, and he passed it. So he has been, it may not be to the same high degree as other people. I get that. Because like I said before, one of the things we were complaining with Boots was the fact that, hey, where are those big time caliber tests that we've been waiting on? Where is the real big time levels of consistent opposition that are like, hey, they got something to your name? We were waiting on that. And we still are saying he needs to get up there. But he has been put into a testing situation before. He has. I got to defend that. He has. Because we watched it. And we all agreed, okay, yeah, he is what we thought he was as a fighter. It wasn't at the Virgil Ortiz level, but it was at a legitimate championship caliber level against an opponent that we were saying, yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's worthwhile. Because I'm not going to disrespect and say Stanionis is just a bum. He ain't. He was. We said that at the immediately after that loss, or after that loss that he had the boots. He ain't a bum. Be clear on that now. He ain't a bum. Stanionis ain't a bum that he beat. He made him look like a bum because he was that good. But Stanionis going into that fight, yeah, that was a real competitor. That was a legit test. To make it look easy shows you how good you really are. I'm not saying he's up to Virgil Ortiz caliber. But I am saying we have to say that he has answered a question when we asked it about how good are you really. We have to say that because that would just be unfair if we didn't. That would just be unfair if we did. Now, if he does pass this test with Virgil, that even further elevates where we see him as, okay, yeah, he's this where he proved that he was at least a threshold. Now he's eclipsed that threshold and gone even higher. I ain't got to know what you're saying. Absolutely. That's why we're so excited for this fight. If Lubin beats Ortiz and Boots beats Lubin, well, guess what? Same thing applies. Hey, but that's still a big time win. It's a big time win. So, just because somebody is, it's like when, how do we say this? There was another fighter who, I can't remember his name. Name will lose me. We've had conversations on our channel before where boxers have gone through and fought people that were good, legitimately good. And it made them look like fools, yet they were seen as, you ain't really all that great unless you fight XYZ. No, anyway, also, we've said, regardless, and he was running through people. Everybody has knocked out nearly every top 10 contender he's faced off in multiple divisions against, while on the road to 2-time undisputed. This man even was getting said, you ain't fought nobody. You ain't fought a soul. Fight Tank. Fight Nick Ball. Fight Espinoza. Fight Terrence Crawford. He's had those types of names thrown at him. And it's like, wait, he proved himself at this level. Why are you still saying that he's untested? Because he ain't fought a name. What's a name? To you, a name is only not you in particular. I'm just saying you as in the conversation involving the unnamed figure that would say or think in this type of sentiment that kind of helps drive the point I'm trying to make. You, Mr. We'll say ambiguous, for the standpoint of, just for the sake of nobody in chat, just in general. You say he hasn't fought a name, and you say he's been untested, yet he has beaten this people that have crossed a certain threshold. But now because he isn't this big of a name, then, it ain't good enough. Well, at some point in time, what marker makes you, every other people ain't fought them same folks, but yet we're calling them proven, tested, driven, and all that stuff. So what the world's the difference? His other names ain't fought, again, we bring up Tank. Tank ain't fought nobody except for Ryan Garcia and Roller Romero. And we're not, but you're calling him the greatest thing in the world. Yet, he hasn't proven nearly as much as all these other people. He ain't fought nearly the competition that others have, yet still this man's great, but this brother ain't. Devin Haney ain't great, but Tank is. And Tank ain't fought nobody that Devin Haney has fought nearly of the same caliber, yet Tank gets this type of cachet and hype. That's not fair. Yet we can say Devin Haney ain't fought nobody that is on Tank's level. So yeah, he ain't fought nobody. Again, being hyperbolic, but that's you get the sentiment I'm trying to say as to why that frame of thinking might not be the best way of going about it. Because he was a good test, even if he wasn't known to the rest of to the majority of the boxing world. That man can swat and that man can fight. And if we ever wanted to see Boots get in trouble with somebody on the inside, it would have been Stanionis. But he passed that test, so I can't say nothing about it. I can't say nothing. I couldn't say that. Let me see. How Virgil Ortiz's reaction when he is in trouble is better than Boots. That could be the experience, like you said. Yeah, exactly. And that's a factor in this fight. Boots. I am more scared that when Boots gets put on the back foot, or rather gets put in a bad situation, if he does, he's going to be the one to get reckless. I'm scared. As much as I'm scared for Ortiz and the counter windows, even as discipline, Boots could be like, hey man, this ain't working. Why is this not working? What's going on? Huffing and puffing, going and making all this noise, all this hullabaloo. What's going on? We got some problems.
We got some problems here.
And next thing you know, he's got that same expression. The body language is different. The punching, he's just holding and hugging, trying to just take shots, looking annoyed, looking at his corner, saying, oh yeah, I got this, don't worry, I got you, and then doing nothing but the same stuff of taking shots and trying to walk through to land big shots of his own. I don't want that. That's what can happen. Boots is more vulnerable to that than Virgil Ortiz. No question about it. No question about it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. But let me keep on reading. I'm a Boots fan. Let me see. I'm a Boots fan. But he turned down a few opportunities over the years. Yeah, he did. We did cover that. We did cover that. He did. Could have fought Virgil and Bud, but didn't really pursue those fights. Yes, he did. Again, in lieu of that whole situation with him moving up to 147, not moving up, or moving up to 154, excuse me, not moving up to 154. And I think like a fight or two before that, it was like you were, hey, what's going on, buddy? What's the deal? We covered that whole saga. Oh, wait. Well, I remember. Yeah, it was bad. Again, well, when was, we already gave my 2 cents on that question. My apologies. Let me see. We don't know how much Boots has improved because he does not fight at a high level. Again, here's the thing. We're here now. Even if you say that he doesn't fight people at a high level, with how Eddie Hearn, with how even other opponents like Virgil Ortiz, with how Boots himself are talking, everybody now sees Boots as not just a viable threat, but everybody now is seeing Boots as, okay, I have to go through you. All right, it's going to happen. You can talk all you talk, but you ain't fought me, and it's going to go. We going to go. Like I said, it used to be that he wasn't getting fights. In part, yes, he did avoid opportunities, absolutely. But also there were some people that weren't going to fight him because he was indeed a bad brother. Similar to Bachman. Both statements can be true, and both statements are true. But with Boots. Now that you've committed to 147 and you're here and you had a fight and you campaigned it, and now that you called everybody else, okay, all right, the proving ground, the litmus test is now. The litmus test is now. That's the truth of the matter. The litmus test for what this fight is going to be is indeed now. The litmus test for how good you really are. It is now. Without debate, it's now. So we can speculate that he hasn't fought anybody at this level. Absolutely, no problem there. But at this point, we got to say, all right, it's on the horizon. It's here. The level's here. Whether you think he's ready or not, the level is here. Whatever doubts you may have, the level is here. Whatever confidence you may have, the level is here. We don't want Boots to backtrack. We don't want Boots to go against what he said he wanted to do. We don't want Boots to go into a situation where he is completely running from opposition. Absolutely. But all of those questions are going to be answered here. Will he step in the ring for real with the winner? Will he call him out to their face? Legit. Will he make sure Eddie Hearn makes this fight happen? If in whatever way it goes, whether it's Ortiz or Lubin, whatever happens, will he make sure that we run it? There ain't no tune-up, ain't no secondary fight. Barring injury, we getting it on next year. We can, because the speculation of what level he's at, we have a baseline. It's Stanionis. He's leagues better than Stanionis, and he proved it. All right, how much weight does that carry at 154? We don't know, but it carries at least something. Low-level competition, anybody that is not within the top 10, dare I say top 5, if they're on if they're on a Lima's level, he'll get out within a round, as he did. He knocked out Lima within 2 minutes, 1 minute 58 seconds. Ran through that brother like a hot knife through butter. He ran through him like a fork through fish. It's ridiculous. So we know that level, okay. Even if you don't value Lima or Lima highly, ain't nobody just doing that to Lima, knocking him out within a minute. That's just the truth. There is something there. Whether you think it is real or fake, you can't deny there's something. So this is the time to prove it. That's what we're waiting on. And that's why for me, I'm not hard. I acknowledge the experience as a concern. And I say that the experience is something that needs to be taken into account. And I say that it can be a big factor in why this is going to shift and change, because he hasn't been at this level. But what I can say is, at every test to prove whether or not you can belong, not even whether or not you should belong, whether or not you can belong at this level, he's passed it with flying colors over the last 3 fights. With each one being a better and better instance. With Stanionis being the most impressive of this run since he's been a unified champion and going up to 154. So I can say he can belong here. And because he can belong here, I got to talk as if he should. And we're going to find out whether he should. And if anything, we should be saying that he belongs here, because we got Virgil Ortiz saying, yo, I want this fight. So that's all well and good to say, yeah. The op that we're saying he's not on the level of, or he ain't experienced with, is saying, I want to fight you. So whether he should or shouldn't be at this level, it's irrelevant. He should be there. In this specific situation. Because, again, it's Virgil Ortiz saying, yo, I want to take you out. This is something serious. And so that's why, again, that's why this fight is so hyped up. That's why I can't wait. I'm not trying to look past it. I'm not trying to look past Ortiz versus Lubin. But sure enough, I know what's coming if this goes right. From the standpoint of if it goes with the storyline of what we see now, with the car crash that's getting ready to happen, with the converging lines that look like they're on a crash course with each other, with Ortiz and Boots. If that's the case, it'd be great. It'd be phenomenal. It would be absolutely incredible. Let me keep on reading what you all got to say. It's easy to look good against low level competition. Yep, absolutely. But again, he did it against good level competition. Stanio's good test. Yep, absolutely, he's a good test. The thing with Boots, he has talked so much and nothing seems to happen, and we got on him for that. Remember, a couple, not even like earlier this month, we were saying, "Hey, brother, what the world's wrong with you? Where is your momentum to move like you're supposed to move?" Now he's moving and backing up the talk and actually putting in action towards. So all we can say is we can't wait to see it. Boots is a spectacular talent. Hopefully we can all agree. He just has to start fighting the big names. That's all willing. And again, he's fighting them now. He is, if he commits to it, he's going to be fighting them now. So all this detraction, we're going to be able to say we can put it to rest. Because I think that's the biggest thing. We know what level Boots can be at, and we're here to talk. But again, this was the frustration with fans that I kept on saying, yo, it's real for everybody. We see where you can fight. We know who you say you want to fight, but you ain't moving like you say you want to move. Now, that's being used against you because you ain't fought nobody at this level. Well, yeah, and you could have, but you kept on wasting time. Now, you're not wasting time. Great. But still the pitfalls of, hey, man, you ain't fight these people. You ain't done this stuff. Da-da-da-da-da. Is I get the frustration, and I get the frustration, and I get the criticism. I understand it all. But now we're at a level where it's got to happen. And it's going to happen. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's going to happen now. If again it keeps on committing, it's going to happen. And so, all these answers are going to be put to bed in the next couple months. That's the thing. The talent's great, everything's good, but all of these questions are going to be put to bed in the next couple months. I guarantee you. I promise you. I promise you. Because either he's going to back out of the fight, unless it's an injury that causes him to have to go. Either he backs out of the fight or he takes it, and we get Boots versus Stanionis. And if that happens, if we get Boots versus Ortiz, and when that happens, if that happens, only thing we can say is, well, you're here now. You are fighting a big name. You are fighting somebody that we feel is at your caliber. So, what we're going to do? And to some degree, some people have been devaluing some of the other opponents that Boots has faced that were actively good people. Mind you, Shuka John is in position to get a title at 147. He's been winning since that loss to Boots. That butt has turned into a real threat for a title. Because everybody ain't messing with Sugar John. Everybody ain't messing with Sugar John. Telling you, I believe he just had a knockout against a respectable opponent, not even in his last fight, that put like the division on a decent level of notice. And so it's like everybody ain't dealing with that. He just made it look, again, he still struggled, but he made it look easier than everybody else has. And so the resume might not be as bad as we may be saying it is for Boots, even though it still is lacking, yes, the big top tier names that we were saying he should already be in the ring with. That's fine. But it is indeed filled with a level of substance. Regardless of how the fight may have looked, okay, we got to put respect on that name, at least in my estimation. Look at what happened look at what happened when Ortiz stepped up against Boachuk. Yeah, people thought that Boachuk won that fight, and that further bleeds into a position. What if he gets put in that situation against Boots? If Boots is just like with Boachuk, able to knock him down, able to hurt him, and able to cause us into a situation where everybody, that normal style that you dominate people with ain't working. Somebody's got a formula. That is a very much what if at the same vein as as Virgil Ortiz being able to outbox and mess up Boots. Because let's be honest, we're not going to, as much as we can say Boots may be unproven at the elite of the elite, perfectly fine. Boots is also seen as a league's better talent than the likes of Bocha. That's not unfair to say. That's not unfair to say, is it? That's not unfair to say. I don't think that's unfair to say. Boots is a league's better talent than Bocha. If we're going to use Bocha as what happened when Virgil stepped up in competition, yeah, it was a struggle night. It was a good fight, great fight, but a struggle night. And guess what? This man, as a talent, his league's better. I doubt that we're not doing triangle theory, but I doubt that we would see Boots lose to Adams 2 times in a row. I doubt that Adams will have nearly as much success as he fought against Bocha. And I doubt that we wouldn't be able to see at least a Boachuk level performance against Ortiz by Boots if they fight each other because of the perceived ceiling of talent that we see Boots at versus where we see Boachuk at, which again is not disrespect. It's just, it's what's in front of us. It's what's in front of us. So I wouldn't be too quick to write Boots off, but still be skeptical like you are. Absolutely. Don't lose your skepticism. But you gotta look at it from the other perspective in regards to the wider scope. When we're talking about experience, when we're talking about talent, when we're talking about the level at which you fight, everything that you all are saying, it is valid, absolutely. Outside of the Stanionis thing, which again I vehemently disagree with. He was a good fighter. That was a good test. But still, everything else, yeah, no problem there. But now that he's at this level, we gotta do what we gotta do. Got to do what we gotta do. And we're gonna find out if he's really about it. And I really do believe that man is gonna be passing that test. Whether or not he wins or loses is not even the most relevant thing. It's just the fact that I feel he's gonna show you he belongs there. Win or lose, he's gonna show you he belongs there. He belongs in that name. He belongs in that vein of a championship and elite of the elite level, the top tier. I truly believe he's going to show you, but we're going to have to find out. Absolutely, but I really do think he's going to show y'all exactly what's up. Let me see. Ortiz ran through everyone until he fought Boachuk. Yes, he did. Actually, to be fair, we can't act like Karn, Stanley, and Evanesian are straight bums. Those are good fighters, just not top level. Yeah, see, exactly. That's the and I think you beat me too with Karn when I was making the point. But because I'm trying not to read these comments late, but y'all are going through, which is great. I love it. Keep on commenting, keep on liking and sharing. Absolutely. But even still, regardless of what, shameless plug, shameless plug. The resume ain't bad. It isn't bad. It is not bad as a fighter. It ain't bad, but not the problem. Not the top level. That's the problem. And so I feel like we're going in a little bit of a circle. Not to be mean, but that's the biggest issue. Boots has not fought at the elite level. He is now he's in the vicinity now of the elite level, and if we see Ortiz beat him, he's going to be fighting at the elite level. If we see Ortiz beat Lubin, he's going to be fighting at the elite level. So the only thing we can say is, we're making a circle. We're going in a circle, so we can put a pin in it, and we'll just say this: food for thought as the weeks go on, and in light of this fight with Ortiz and Lubin, in your opinion. Take some time to think. We got to answer just food to think about. With Boots now being at this elite level for the first time, with Ortiz and or Lubin, because the winner of that, again, we're going to be saying, hey, yeah, they're the real deal. So with this next fight being at this level, regardless of where you think he hasn't been proven, the real question is, do you think his talent belongs there? That's the only thing that we can ask. Because we can't say he's ready or not up until he actually gets there. But now that he's here, until that first bell ring, we won't know. But the biggest thing to ask to yourself with what I see with Boots, even if I don't think he's had the experience to get to that level, is his talent at that level? And can he compete at that level as of today if he was in the ring with somebody like a Fundora, like a Ortiz, like a Keith Thurman, and depending on if Keith Thurman wins that fight, with a Boa Chuck, any of them? Could Boots fight at that level today? That's what you got to ask yourself. Because the question of he's inexperienced or he ain't fought at this level yet, well, yeah, he hasn't. But do you think he can fight at this level? Regardless of whether he has the experience or not, do you think he can fight at this level? I say yes. Some people may say no. But again, that's a question for you to ask for yourself. And to have your own inclination. That's really what it's all about. Do you think he can fight there when he's there? And that's up for you to decide. I'm just here to be a liaison to give you my thoughts and opinions. But again, as we go through right now, we can now go into the world of the championship rounds. That's right. We're gonna keep it strict this time. The last time we went almost 3:30. We're gonna keep it at 15 to 30 minutes outright. Once we hit, what is it? Once we hit 2 hours, 50 minutes, and or the 3 hour mark, we're gonna end it. Full stop, just so you know. But this is the championship rounds where you can talk about anything in the world of boxing, basketball, NBA, NFL, movie, sports, television, video games, everything under the sun in the sports. Whether you want to talk about, we can talk about it right here, right now, for your viewing and listening pleasure. Get your questions together. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. If you want to give, shameless plug, we got Cash App and PayPal. Links down below in the description. If you can give, again, anything we do, we support it, we love it, we appreciate it. And hey, helps to make this channel bigger and better. It helps us to make this show grander. All for your enjoyment and for your viewing and listening and pleasure, and to put some money in my pockets as well. Oh yeah, we're gonna make it do what it do. But again, keep on sharing the show, keep on getting your thoughts and opinions together. And while you are getting your questions together, while you are getting your thoughts together, we still have more stuff to cover that we can talk about in the world of boxing. More specifically, the more I've been thinking about with the conversation involving Terrence Crawford, and in lieu of him being in position to where he can fight Janibek Alimhanullah. Yes, indeed, in a fight that will be absolutely insane. One of the conversations that I've heard come up is now top 10. Everybody's talking, absolutely. My opinion, he's one of the 10 best. But if he becomes a 4-division undisputed champion, does that put him definitively in a threshold above Floyd Mayweather? He goes down to 160 and beats Janibek to become unified and becomes or undisputed, depending on if he waits on either Janibek or Lara or anybody to become the undisputed champ at 160. He's eyeing Janibek because most likely he's going to be the one to do it. But if he does go about and do that, we were already saying that in my opinion, I think he's better than Floyd as a fighter. Or at least he's on that level. At minimum, he's on that level. At worst, he's above. I ain't got Floyd in my top 10 all time. I got Crawford, so I would say yeah, for me. But it still is a conversation of, I don't know. If he went and became 4-time undisputed, going up and beating Janibek, or anybody who gets that belt at 160, most likely being Janibek, would that be another push in your eyes? I may say yes. I may say yeah. Not may. I would say definitively. I'd say definitively yeah. I would say absolutely yeah. I would say there shouldn't even be a question at that point if that does come up. Yeah. That's something that would be. He does that. We're going into Sugar Ray Robinson level of greatness. I'm not going to lie. We're getting into Sugar Ray Robinson level of ridiculous type, Ezra Charles level of ridiculous type of stuff, where it's unparalleled, unheard of, genuinely unheard of, almost not possible. If he did that would be insane. But I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on no. But let me see, who else It's popping at 154 right now. Again, like I said, at 154 at this point in time, and I appreciate the question. At 154 right now, it is, in terms of fights, the biggest and most recent one that got announced is Bachram versus Kelly. Then Fundor versus Stanionis. Not Fundor versus Keith Thurman. My apologies. Fundor versus Keith Thurman is the other one that's happening. Then you got Jermell Charlo coming back to 154 and potentially, you know what I mean, big potentially, fighting Errol Spence Jr. But even then, I don't know whether or not that's going to happen or not, because we have to be real. We don't know what's going to happen when it comes to Errol Spence as a fighter. And even when it comes to Jermell Charlo, it's still up in the air of all these names he's calling out, but no moves have really been made. It's like, are you really working to be about that life? Are you really trying to go and do what you need to do? And so that, of the biggest moves, those are the names that are kind of taking the headlines, taking precedent. We're really doing the big movers and shakers. I'm trying to find out if anybody else is making some movement right now at the World of 154. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Adams, after beating Boachuk, gets a shot at potentially a title next, gets pushed up, potentially fight against Xander Zayas down the line. I wouldn't be surprised if after Adams and beating Boachuk goes off and fights against potentially Jesus Ramos. Maybe a boss. I could see him fighting a boss hypothetically. But even then, it's kind of up in the air. I don't really know where that's going to go in terms of what's going to happen in light of him capitalizing off of that win. But that's kind of what it is right now. Like I said, the majority of 154 has been eking momentum. It ain't been moving quick, but they've all been there, and it's like a we watched the movie last night, or I watched the movie last night. Me and my family watched the movie last night. House of Dynamite. I believe that was the name of the movie. And it's an apropos sentiment. Well, the division is a House of Dynamite. Once one thing pops off, everything else is going to fall in line. After we see Thurman versus Fundor, everything else is going to start coming into place of what the title picture and who's going where to fight for that belt. Once Ortiz and Lubin happen, then the cogs turn of what's going to happen afterwards. Whether it's going to be Lubin versus Boots or whether it's going to be Ortiz versus Boots. And that's going to be Ortiz versus most likely one of the champions. Most likely. And then the loser most likely fights either Boachuk. If it's Virgil Ortiz that loses, we can see a fight and a rematch with Boachuk and Virgil Ortiz that takes place. If we see Virgil Ortiz win, then we could see Boots versus Boachuk hypothetically as a necessary thing. We could see a Boots versus Xander Zayas go and take place after we see Ortiz versus Boots. Hypothetically. A boss is still in the picture if somebody can take that fight as to keep the timeline going. There's a bunch of things, but everything's going to be predicated off of this next couple set of months. Because I'm telling you, once one thing pops off, everything's popping off. Let me see. Yo, Mr. Miyagi, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. What's happening here with us on today? Afternoon, Jean-Luc. If Boots struggles with movers, let me see. If Boots struggles with movers, I'm saying now Madrimov will give Boots fits. Yeah. I think we've said that before on this channel, and it's rightfully so. He would give him fits. It would be a struggle. Now, here's the thing. Old Boots leagues more trouble than the new Boots that we've seen now, who fought against Stanionis and Lima. Now, I'm not saying that those are Madrimov at all. But I'm also saying that, again, the biggest thing with Boots that I've had that's been impressive It's the defense and, again, the calm nature that he wasn't having in those fights with Sugar John and or Avanese. More importantly, Sugar John, for the sake of the example. So I still think Majimov can be a sleeper that can give Boots a world of pain. Absolutely. Because it's the very style that makes him work the worst. But this Boots, I truly believe, is a different Boots that won't have as much frustration making him make those same mistakes and won't have the annoyance take away from the fundamental soundness of what he's going to fight like when dealing with movers now. I truly do. That's what I believe. Now, we're going to find out. But I have my eye very closely settled on if we ever see Boots versus Majimov take place. That fight is going to be a fight that has my high interest. Because that fight's going to that's going to answer some questions. I don't care at what point in time Boots is at when it comes to his career at 154. With a belt, without a belt, if he beats Ortiz or not, if he beats Fundora or not, it don't matter to me. That one fight is the X Factor fight. I'm high. I don't care what happens else in the division. That one fight has me on pins and needles because I'm confident that he's going to be able to beat him. But I'm also incredibly concerned that Majimov, of everybody else in this division, can give him some real upset outside of Virgil Ortiz. That's my thing. Because I know Boots is a better fighter than Majimov. But man, Majimov, what he does in the ring is something that makes everything so concerning. Against Boots, specifically. It's a match-made nightmare. And I don't care what else happens to the division. That fight's going to be one of my biggest investments as to what's going to go on. Let me see. I'm in Rhoda. Do you see Tenshin versus Takuma in a way announced? Who do you have winning? I did. I think I saw that last night. Can't remember when exactly the announcement took place, but I know I saw that fight get announced last night. Yes, indeed. And I'm gonna go with Takuma anyway. I'm gonna go with Takuma anyway winning that fight. Because of, I'm not saying he ain't got the power of his brother. I'm not comparing him to his brother, but I think he does have that. It's the engine. What he lacks in the pop, he makes up for in activity, a whole lot of activity. Oh, he puts himself at risk a lot, but that activity is hard to overcome. It is. He's been beat, yes. But even with that being the case, I don't think Tenshin, it's a great fighter, don't get me wrong, a phenomenal fighter. I don't think he's going to be able to beat Takuma. I think he's going to get overwhelmed. It's going to be that constant. Both of them do that darting in and out thing. But with Takuma, he darts in and out and he stays longer than he should at times. But in all honesty, it's been working for him throughout his career. That is what I think is going to give him a lot of trouble in terms of tension. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not saying it's going to be a definitive, but I do think he's going to be able to win. So I got Takuma winning this fight by decision. Most likely by, what's going to say unanimous, but I might go majority. I'm not going to go unanimous decision. I'm going to go majority decision. Takuma gets that done. I don't think it's going to be by knockout, but I think it gets done by majority decision. Let me see. I think I have to rank Bud higher because I put accomplishments over who you fought. And I think I had to rank Bud higher in regards to Floyd Mayweather because I put accomplishments over who you fought and the eye test. But honestly, can't say who is above who. So, that's a good question. I think I'm a little bit different. I put who you fought above accomplishments due to the fact that when we're talking about this vicinity, accomplishments come with major names. Again, Klitschko reigned for a decade. There's a reason why we're not putting him in the same breath as Joe Louis, or the same breath as Joe Frazier, or the same breath as Muhammad Ali. Because the names that he fought again, was in a. It's not his fault. It's not his fault at all. But wasn't in a relatively weaker heavyweight time, where he was able to reign. And yeah, he beat Shannon Briggs and he beat some quality. Don't get me wrong, but of the caliber of everybody else, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And when he did lose, he lost to people that was like, okay, yeah, he lost to some great people, but he lost to great people. Lost to AJ, lost to Fury. He got knocked out by somebody else. I can't remember who. Got put out by somebody. I can't remember who. But regardless of which. So I put accomplishments up here. When it comes to GOAT conversations, I put accomplishments up here. But it's closely followed in line by the names. Because when I'm having this conversation, both the accomplishments and names go hand in hand. And when they're matching each other, okay, then I put who you fought. You get what I'm saying? Because at this caliber, if you're put in that top 10 or in that Floyd-esque level, you've got names on your resume. And you have accomplishments. You're going to have accomplishments on your resume. You're going to be doing something You're going to be doing something that transcends most eras in the sport if you're getting talked about in this vein. Then it leads into, beyond the accomplishments, now we got to look into who it was that you fought in said accomplishments and when you fought them. Which to some degree has been a reason why Floyd's degradation of his cachet as a fighter over the years is starting to wane. Because of the very things of who you fought, fighting people at the right time, those arguments in conversation with his career have to some degree detracted what more and more boxing fans see as Floyd, what he's done. I was also a personal image, not the best on the conversation. Strictly in the ring. So for me, I'm a little bit different. I value the names over the accomplishments. But it ain't by much because the accomplishments automatically come with you fought somebody that was a dog. You had to. In most, if not all instances. So now it's just a matter of the opponents change that scale. Because you did the same thing that somebody else did, but you did it against this brother. Oh, shoot, that's a different breed. That's a different animal. That's something insane. So, but I do put Crawford above Floyd. And it's still close. Again, Floyd's not in my top 10, but he ain't that far off. But I put Crawford above him. But if he does this with Janibek, it's not going to be a debate that I can feasibly have. That's going to be the thing. If he beats Janibek and gets undisputed, it's not going to be a question that I got to struggle and ponder. It's not going to be that. Ain't going to be that. It won't be that at all. No. No, sir. I promise you that. Let me see. Going through, I'm trying to, people keep chatting so much, I'm trying to go through and find people. Talk on it. Hold on, this chat bot ain't working like it's supposed to. Wait a minute, hold on, let me refresh this thing. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. All right, okay, there we go. Okay, we got it back. Got scared. Stuff went awry. I got scared. We had to do what we had to do. Oh, shoot, it's 2:50. Dang it. Okay, shoot. Okay, we'll go 5. We ain't gonna go past 3 hours. We ain't gonna go past 3 hours. We're gonna go 5 more minutes. I'm gonna try to answer some of these questions before we get out of here. So I'm gonna be skipping through because I do not want to forget people. Let me see. Hold on. I feel you. I want to put Floyd above Bud, but I can't. Bud accomplishments are unreal. Plus, he shined in his big fights. Plus, his skills are up there with anybody in history. And like that with Crawford, that is the biggest thing. Beyond just the accomplishments, we're looking at a man who has dominated 135, 140, 147, 154, 135, 147, 154, and now it beat the best 168 pounder we maybe have ever seen. Super middleweight, not middleweight, super middleweight, or at least one of the greats we've ever seen. and one of the greatest Mexican boxers we've ever had in history. The definitive best fighter of this era was going to be Canelo. If it wasn't going to be in a way, if it was not going to be in a way they got that claim, it was going to be Canelo, because Canelo had reigned for so long at this dominant stretch. He became an icon, a figure, a global myth. And he beat him with ease when he moved up from 154. Yeah, that's insane. That should not be possible. Charlo was a more natural. Charlo at that point in time had fought at a natural 154. It had a closer gap to close from where he started out from in his career than where he ended up. And yet still, he got made look like a fool. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. It should not have worked, but it did. He speaks of the greatness. And that talent now has pushed Crawford to a level where it's hard to bet against him, against anybody in history. It's hard. It's difficult. There is not a fight in any era that you could not put him against and be like, yeah, he's working. Or at least he's going to be able to compete, and we don't know who's going to win. You can put him, again, I've been saying for years, you can put him in the 4 kings of boxing era. Or 5 kings. How many kings you think you want to say? Because you had Benitez, and you had Aaron Pryor, you had all of them. You can put him against in that entire era. And you couldn't say who wins and who loses if they face off against Terence Crawford. You can have an idea, but you couldn't say who wins definitively. Because Crawford can fight on the level of Sugar Ray Leonard. He can fight on the level of Tommy Hearns. He can fight on the level of he can fight on the level of a Marvin Hagler, which is insane to say, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And I'm still picking between Marvin Hagler and Berto Duran as a who's definitively in that top 10 list for me. Because both of them were so dominant. But you can fight any one of them, and it's like I don't know who wins. I dare say, well, I'm not going to go that far, but there's only been a couple people that I've said if you put Sugar Ray Robinson in the ring with, they could beat him. Ain't many. I'm talking about in his prime. Ain't many. Roy Jones is one of them. Roy Jones is one of them, because again, that's the greatest talent I've ever seen since Sugar Ray Robinson, period. But we're talking about it at welterweight, middleweight. Sugar Ray Leonard would be a phenomenal fight. Absolutely. Would love to see Sugar Ray Leonard and Sugar Robinson and Marvin Hagler face off against each other. The wars. I gotta put Terence Crawford in that same vicinity of like, hey man, that's a good fight. In terms of what the skill set is. It's insane. It has reached that type of mythical figure. And if he beats Janibek, that even further pushes the envelope. That even further pushes the envelope. Like, brother, we're talking reckless abandon type of stuff. But tonight, Bernard Hawkins, James Toney, don't matter who, any name you can think of, it's hard to, you can't say definitively, man, they've beaten Crawford. You can say that they can beat him, that's fine. But you can't say definitively, oh man, Crawford can't give it to him, because he can't. Because unlike with Floyd, it ain't a situation where somebody is too big, or somebody would have too much power, or somebody would be too defensive for Floyd to have the same. Like I said, Floyd against Tommy Hearns, Floyd loses. Floyd against Marvin Hagler, Floyd loses. Floyd against Roberto Duran, Floyd definitely loses that. Floyd against Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd loses, in my estimation. Again, Floyd can compete with all the greats. Absolutely. But I'm picking most of the greats against him. Pretty confidently. That's not me being a hater. It's not. I'm being serious. He could belong in that era, but I don't think he would be as dominant. But Crawford, that's a little bit different story. That's a little bit of a different story. Because he fought everybody in their prime where they were, not even at a catch weight, not even at a, will agree to this type of situation. I can't even say that for Manny Pacquiao. And this, I don't hold that against Manny Pacquiao, because he was, again, started out at 198 pounds, moving up to 147. Yeah, that shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible, but it was, because he's that great. But even Pacquiao fought people at a catch weight below the threshold at which they were actively fighting when he fought him. They agreed they fought, he beat him. Hey, no question, I'm not going to hold it against him. We don't. We definitely don't. But it just speaks to the grandeur of Crawford is fighting people. And has fought every single fight of his career against a litany of insane tests, capped off by Canelo Alvarez at their weight, in their prime, without any catch weight. And when they were, to my knowledge, and with what I've seen, with us living through it, fresh and ready to fight. That'd be insane. That'd be ridiculous. That would be absolutely ridiculous if that took place. Let me see. Do you think anyway is the first battle of Hall of Fame? No question. Absolutely. Not even a debate. Not even a debate. That ain't even a debate. That one, if he retired today, he's first ballot. If he retired today, if he never had the Nakatani, if he never fought Nakatani, he would still be first ballot Hall of Fame. It's one of the greatest super bantamweights and bantamweights we have ever seen in the history of the sport. That run that he had from 2023 up to now, the run that he's had from 2023 up to now has been one of the most impressive single dominant runs I have ever seen in the history of boxing. I'm dead serious. It is hard for me to remember the last time somebody ran through the top caliber of competition at their prime from 1 to 10, going from the top down and beating everybody as if it wasn't even a chore. It's hard for me to think that the last time somebody did it that fervently. It's hard. It's difficult. That's one of the greatest runs I've ever seen. In boxing, that's one of the greatest runs I've ever seen. Coupled with what he did at 115. I ain't even bring with what he did at 115 before he really reached his zenith. And then beating Nonito Donaire, winning the Super Series. Oh gosh, that'd be insane. That'd be insane. That is insane. He's definitely first ballot. I agree, greatest talent I've seen in my lifetime is Roy Jones Jr. I'm glad we feel the same way. Then if you don't, that's probably fine. I'm just saying for me, that's how I feel. I like Pacheco, but I think Sajo is going to be a tough test. He most likely will, but I strongly feel, and we at the 3 hour mark, so we're going to have to wrap this up, but I strongly feel that Pacheco, that man's something special. That man's something special. That man is something special. That man's something special. That's a special fighter. I'm going to say this right now. That brother is something serious. Pacheco is something serious. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. That brother's something to behold. Shoot. That man, oh gosh, that man is special. And I see your chat. If Sajo gets close to Pacheco, it could get ugly. I'm gonna say this, and again, I've said this before. There is a little bit of bias with Pacheco because of how I go through, or because of how I feel about him. Pacheco, I don't think it's gonna get ugly for Pacheco if he gets on the inside. I think it's going to be that we're going to see Pacheco shine against Sajo. I think if it does get to an inside war, how do we say this? Everything looks so easy for Isaiah Pacheco. Everything looks so easy for Isaiah Pacheco. And more importantly, inside fighting looks easy for Isaiah Pacheco. We are talking about Isaiah Pacheco, right? Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I am talking. Hold on. Not as. Not okay. Not Isaiah Pacheco, the running back. See, this is why I had to make sure. I was thinking. See, I had a bunch of football talk yesterday, and I had to make sure we are talking about with Pacheco the boxer. What I say? You know what it was? I got some Chiefs fans. That's why I had to make sure. I knew something sounded. See, I knew it. I knew something. The second I said Isaiah Pacheco, I knew something sounded off. Because I knew we were talking about Diego Pacheco, but for some reason Isaiah Pacheco came into my mind, and I wasn't able to figure out why in the world that didn't feel right. And it's because it's a football talk yesterday. And it has been leading Thursday night football. I don't believe they play Thursday night, but we had some talk in lieu of Sunday, and it was like the Panthers are 4-5, and we got the same record as the Chiefs, or we got a similar record as the Chiefs, and so I knew something sounded off when I said Isaiah Pacheco. Diego Pacheco, it's Diego Pacheco. Diego Pacheco makes it look so easy inside of the ring. He makes it look so easy when he's fighting. He makes it look so easy when he's just going through, and it's effortless work. And it's almost, and I don't say that often, but it's effortless boxing. Everybody ain't got that. You know, the inside in particular, he can go through and do some insane stuff. And it looks like a walk in the park. I don't think that Sejo is going to be he's going to be a great test. Again, he's 26-0. That brother, this is a bad cat. Sejo's 26-0, 23 KOs. This cat is a monstrous punch. Monstrous punch. Insane. But the nickname is the Punisher. And he lives up to it. Probably getting, I guarantee you, he got a chin like iron. And he is going to try to, with reckless abandon, submit Pacheco to his will. But watch, you're going to see. I think, and now if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I really do believe we're going to see Pacheco have a phenomenal performance. And it's going to be effortless as usual, this time on the inside. And he's going to watch out for the uppercut of Pacheco in this fight against Sejo. Watch out for it. Because that takes hold in this fight like I think it can. We can see something spectacular. I think we really can. And so, but let me see. Let me keep on reading. We got to get out of here because it is 3:05. Have you checked out Haito Sutsumi and his fights? I'm checking him out today. I designated after the show. I'm checking out the fights today and gonna watch and see what this brother can do. And I'm gonna look into him. I told you I was gonna look him up. I'm looking him up today. It's gonna happen right after the show, and then we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. Oh yeah, like I said, with the championship rounds, we have the world at our feet and a bunch of time to talk about it. So yeah. I'm gonna check out his fights today, and we're gonna see exactly what he can do. We're gonna see what he can be. Cause I am highly interested to see what this buddy's really about. And so, so I'm gonna check him out. I'm gonna check him out after the show today. I mean, really, I like Pacheco, but I'm not seeing generational talent. I like Pacheco, and again, it's for it. This is me. It's just me. I'm high on him. I give a disclaimer. I like what I see, and I think he can be a dominant fighter in the coming years, especially with how he's fighting right now. He's only 24 years old. Yeah, I see it. I truly do, in my opinion. Now, we're going to find out if that's going to take place with this fight, but it's a gut feeling that I can't ignore. Because everybody ain't that sweet when they fight. Everybody's not as sweet as Pacheco when they fight. That is a different level of ease. I love it. And so I'm high on him. I'm putting stock in him now. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. No issue. I'm still keeping it unbiased. But I'm gonna say this: you better watch out. Because this man's going to I think he's going to be the truth. I think he's going to be for real. Let me see. The brother has potential. Haito, he got a good combination. Like I said, I'm going to check him out after the show because I'm going to, in fact, let me go on. Let me go on and get my TV set up. So I can I can get this stuff done already. 'Cause I want to make sure if I'm involved and I see this man can actually be something, or I want to see it, or I want to witness it, I want to be there to have it absolutely. Let me see. He could be the best 130 pounder in the division. He's very skilled. And he's being pushed fast, and I think he said he got some good combinations. They believe in this kid. Hey, I'm gonna check him out. I'm gonna check him out and see what he can do. And if he does, got the skills to pay the bills, we're gonna talk about it on this show, no question. But again, with all that being said, we gotta go and end it off here because we gotta get out of here. We at the 3-hour mark, and it has been a pleasure to be with you all on this Thursday. We gotta go home and we gotta get out of here. So with all that being said, buddy, it is thank you to it is time. It's time to go and leave. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Watch What with me, your host, Jean Louis. Hey, boy, it's been great. It's been phenomenal. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all for your support on the channel. If you like what you heard and you want to keep on supporting this show, we got Cash App, we got PayPal, we got links down below in the description. If you would like to support, we are going through the process of monetization on YouTube right here, waiting on them to give me a response back so I can finish out the thing so we can get super chats galore, advertisers, left, right, and center. Have people come in and invest into the show and pay to have their voice be heard. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure there ain't nobody commenting unless they pay some dues. I'm just kidding. I'm just having fun. But if you want to support the show, hey, anything we do, we appreciate it. We love it. Keep on sharing the show with everybody you know. Leave a like on the video before you get out of here. Chat what you like and didn't like about the show before you leave, and be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to be back here on Friday for the championship rounds, where you all drive the conversation on whatever you want to discuss in the world of sports as a whole. But again, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Friday, tomorrow. Same time, same place, same channel. Be safe. Be blessed. Hopefully, I'll see you back, and we will see you all next time. Peace and love. We out.